GG! The Mouthful Podcast is brought to you by GoodGame.Rock, the most welcoming gaming community on Facebook. Visit us at www.goodgame.rocks.
Welcome back, guys. This is Arnaldo, aka Mad Dog, and with me is David, aka Dream Twister, and this is The Real, episode 288 of GG's The Mouthful Podcast.
GG! Oh, that's right. We're not a spooky season anymore.
We're just outside.
I am thankful for that.
Are you? Oh, okay. Oh,
no, it was Thanksgiving season, so that's why.
Oh, I see. Well done, sir. Well done. You know, it's a shame how the world just ignores Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? It's like it's Halloween, and then the next day it's Christmas.
No, it's Black Friday. Remember, it's Black Friday.
That's the only thing they know of. But that's not a celebration. You know, they're not hanging up Black Friday.
Have you been on any mall, or have you opened your browser? Have you checked your emails
saying Black Friday?
They might as well be.
Oh my god!
I mean, have you ever seen the photo of that? There's there's a photo of a Japanese mall where it literally they'll have banner that says "Merry fucking Christmas sale." That was the thing, yeah.
This is gonna sound a little weird, but I need to get my charger for my laptop real quick, because otherwise we're not gonna have a show.
You're running out of okay. Well, we already started the podcast a little bit low energy, thanks to Mad Dog. But if this is your first time listening, welcome everybody, and like, subscribe, and share the podcast. What we do normally is we start the podcast with a little bit of what we have been doing. Continue on forward with our hot topic. No, with our news. See, I don't even pay attention to what we do in our podcast, but and we finish with our hot topic of the week. This week, hot topic.
Thank you, sir, for covering during this trying moment.
You were here, and it was quite a catastrophe. Don't worry.
I'm sure you handled it just fine. I actually can't wait to listen to it later on in post. Anyway, you were saying Japanese mall, and go.
And okay. So you didn't even get that part. I was trying to tell you about the photo of the mall in Japan with the Christmas banners that literally spell "Merry fucking Christmas" sale, because it was a sale. So they were having a fucking sale is what they were having, because I guess that means something different in Japan. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I literally like we were going somewhere. I don't know where we were going. And the radio come on, and I swear to God, a freaking Christmas Carol came on. I was like, no. Right off, I was like, no.
I'm quite all right. Holiday season is my favorite holiday of the year. I don't care what anybody of you celebrate, whatever it is. I just like the festivities and sales also. You know, I do like me some sales, and but I also like I said, you know, the fact that everybody's, for the most part, not everybody, but for the most part, you know, larger amount of people tend to be in a better mood around the holidays. I said, not everyone.
That is true. It's always
an enjoyable moment. It's kind of like a little partying for 4 weeks, because you know we're about to finish the year, and it kind of feels it feels cool like that.
Yeah.
So also it's cool because it gets cold, and I prefer the cold weather more than the hot weather. Now, uh, I'm not saying that as a person that even knows what it is to live in snow. So don't hate me. When I say cold, I mean like Florida cold, not bitterly cold like some of you get in other parts of the country.
That are already getting, believe it or not.
They're already, yeah,
they're
exactly.
already getting some frigid. I don't miss the snow, bro. I do not even a little. Do I miss the snow at all? It is. I never. But then again, I was in the city with the snow, and that's not the same as being, like if in the suburbs, and you can walk out, and you still have a driveway. You don't have to worry about, being in the city,
shoveling snow.
You're shoveling snow off of a curb just so you can park your car in it. Not exactly the same thing, and so I hear you.
That feels like too much work.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, if this is your first time listening, first.
No, I already gave him that.
Oh,
so.
You did? Oh, okay.
If you want to do it better, because I kind of butchered it throughout the whole thing. So, yeah, sure, why not? Listen to how it's properly done, and the reason why he sits on the high seat, I sit on the passenger seat.
Yeah. If this is your first time listening, guys, please go to Good Game Doc Rocks. Join the conversation there. It takes you right to our Facebook group, and of course, please like, subscribe, and share the podcast with everyone. What we normally do, I think he already mentioned this as well, is we go into what we have been up to, move on to various news items, then we finish with our hot topic of the week. This week's hot topic. Open world is dead.
Holy shit, man. Come on.
Shit.
That's a little harsh.
It is a little harsh. And so I stumbled upon something from what is this place? Oh, I'm trying to think of the Escapist magazine.
It's called YouTube.
And I guess the angle it was coming from was so fascinating to me. I was like, yeah, I think I 100% agree with this. And the fact is, and just to give you a little taste of it, but basically to say, as gaming has been progressing with graphics and everything, it's been a push to make the open world, you know what I mean? A living, breathing open world, and right. The argument can be made, we're there. We're probably past there now if we go back. So I think the most realized worlds were probably games like Witcher 3 and Red Dead Redemption 2, probably more so than anything else. And then, well, what else is there? Where do we go from here? A lot of open world. I mean, that's what freaking
Assassin's Creed have become.
Ubisoft literally lives and breathes open worlds, but their open worlds tend to be the same old stuff. You know what I mean? And tend to be low on narrative. And so that's the question. That's the question that we're going to ask later on. Is it dead? Are we looking at a new frontier, or are we just going to be making big worlds even bigger? And now 100-hour games are going to be 250-hour games. You know what I mean? Because
I don't know if I have time for that.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll talk about that again later on the show. But let's go ahead and start with what we always start with, sir, and that is, what have you been up to?
Well, I'm going to turn this one back to you because I want to hear. I want you to start this time and tell me what you have been up to, because I really haven't done anything super special.
I mean, so I put down.
I'm super excited about what I'm about to hear, so that's the whole entire reason I'm sitting in my spot.
Fair enough. I put down Battle Chasers. I will go back to it, but I did put it down. The grind gets real in that game, unfortunately, or fortunately, if you like grind, because I mean there are people like Chaos, for instance, who he loves the grind behind it, which is why he's already beat the game and maxed out his character.
He already beat the game and maxed out. Okay, I don't know why I have to repeat it in my head to believe it. The first time I heard it, I should have believed it because it's Chaos. So of course he will.
That's his.
Mind you. This ain't no lonely nerd that we're talking about here, this cat has a job, he has a wife,
yeah.
He has responsibilities,
Which
and
he handles
somehow
them all. Yeah,
he handles them all. Yeah, exactly. Masterfully. And he still have time for all the grind. It's kind of incredible.
it is.
You know what? If any, I don't feel like this topic will be complete without having him, because I bet he could talk and give us a really good perspective about open worlds.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure, definitely. But anyway, so I put that down, and I went ahead and got Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was like, okay, it was interesting because, like I said, I was interested in getting this game and playing it very early on.
You weren't planning on
was
getting it that fast, though.
No, well, early on, it was going to be at least close to day one.
Oh, that's true.
But then you had mentioned some previews, and the previews are previews. Let's be real. I mean, even when they talk highly of it, you still have to be cautious.
Right.
But you mentioned and they were cautious. Like they were cautiously optimistic, going, "Oh, I don't know about this gameplay." I was like, "Okay, so we're putting a pause on this one." Okay, all right. And so I did. Then you played it, and then Adam played it, and then the reviewers started coming out, and they're going, this is a surprise. And I was like, son of a bitch, I would have been playing this already. So it is what it is. But yeah, so I did finally start it, and I am head over heels for it. You know what I mean? It is so well written and even voice acted between everybody in the voice actors.
Yeah.
It's just really, really well done. I'm loving all the characters, and that includes Rocket.
Includes Rocket. Yeah,
includes Rocket.
I never said I disliked him. On my thing of it was like, he's not like my favorite right now, because he's kind of like a little bit more of a jerk in this than I remember him on. I'm not. I never followed the comics, so I never knew what his stance was of the comics, and he was probably more true to what he is on the comics. But the Rocket I know is the Rocket that probably the vast majority of people that have seen, Guardians of the Galaxy movies, the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, known him as, and he comes a little bit more kind of humorous. Not a punchline, but kind of like smart, humorous, and kind of like generally cool all around. Over here, like I told you, he just reminds me of that character from Cheers that I just
Cliff,
and he sounds just like him.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I think I honestly think it's a very close rendition of Bradley Cooper's version of it. So listening to him, I was like, this looks and sounds and feels like Rocket, and I'm loving the little elements. You obviously, as you mentioned before last week, you primarily play as Star-Lord,
right?
And you're responsible for your team, but in more than one way. You know what I mean? It's not just during the battles, although that is a part of it. It's every other time. You want to make sure you're supportive of your team at every point. And I feel as a leader of a team, like in real life, this is like right up my alley, bro. It's like, I love,
especially when you need to huddle and get your people huddled.
I love the huddle thing. As we huddle up, and the huddle ups, as Dream Tester mentioned last week, is basically a moment. It's almost like a special move that you have available to you when it becomes available in battle. And it literally pauses the battle, and everybody huddles up. And you kind of want. I always go, "What are the guys doing in the background? They're just looking at us huddling up over here."
I know.
It reminds me so much of a football game, because that's exactly what it is. The defense is over there just standing around waiting, and the offense is all huddled up in this little thing.
I knew you were gonna be able to give it better context, because to me, I was thinking like, oh, maybe they just found like some place to to take cover and have the huddle. Meanwhile, the actual arena where they're fighting is completely open space. There's no corners. Like,
there's nowhere to hide. So
there's no way to hide. Exactly.
Everything pauses for a second, and they
they're having a team meeting. Yeah,
that's exactly what they're having. Yeah, that's exactly what they're having. And so, and then of course, the words of encouragement, which I have not missed one yet, bro. It's like
really. Well, that's the reason why you're you're a good leader.
It's just like, yes, because you get, basically they come at you with your guardians come at you with how they're feeling in this particular fight, and either you're going to encourage you want to encourage them, right? You don't want to put them down in any way, whatever. So you just want to make sure you're coming from the angle. Now the angle is difficult to see, but the words are hinted on the screen. It's like, okay, so these are the because as they speak, they're what they're saying, like certain parts of like what they're saying in the highlighted on the screen. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say highlighted, because it took me a couple of huddles to realize, like, oh, the words are floating there. I can see it. Like it almost blends with the background, like you don't know what it is, and they're like, oh, okay, so these are meant to be like the main words that you should be focusing, the keywords.
The keywords, yeah. And so it's like, this is, those keywords should lead you to an encouraging moment. And I love when wise words, Peter Quill. And then they
encourage or discourage, because sometimes you want to discourage some behaviors, like they get too cocky, and they're thinking like,
hey, which was the very last one that I did. We were just like, oh, we got this, and then it's like, guys, we got to do this correctly, and all this, and it's just really, it's just such a well designed.
Who's with me?
Yeah, love it. I love it when they go, yeah, let's get out there, and Gamora claps and runs off, and I'm just like, and then the music starts, and it's like, oh, this is some good shit right here.
The music
fun every time,
right? It just be whatever's. So like sometimes at the most inopportune moments, like you will have a battle that is kind of like it's kind of like there's stakes on that battle. But for some reason, you had the huddle, and after the huddle, everybody have fun tonight. We'll start playing. It's like, well, I guess that's the theme of our battle.
That's the theme of the battle.
Let's go for it.
And that obviously gives them a buff where you can use their special abilities without the cooldown, which makes obviously the battle much, particularly like Gamora and. Has like some really powerful attacks where it's like, oh shit, that should just eliminated like 3-4 people. You know what I'm saying? It's good stuff. But anyway, it is a lot of fun, dude. I am digging my Vanilla Ice version of Star-Lord. I think really he's that dude.
Oh, the look,
that is so Vanilla Ice.
I'm warmed up to it. It's like, okay, I'm okay. I'm okay with y'all, but yeah.
The moments in the ships are pretty cool when you're able to talk to them, and we haven't been to the ship in a while now that I think about it, so I don't know if I'm nearing the end or something like that. But what else? There are some technical hiccups, which I have run into, some audio things where I'm not hearing, like I actually did one of those one of the huddles, believe it or not hearing anything they said, and only saw the keywords. Like, okay,
the audiobook is also on the console. God damn it.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, so I guess we're gonna have to wing this one here, and I still nailed it. So
still nailed it.
But it only happened. There have been. Let me see what else. There was. We were in the middle of a fight, like a group, whatever, and for whatever reason, we were doing this a cappella. Basically, there was no music happening in the background. It was just the sound effects and the slapping around. I was like, I feel like we're missing something here, and it didn't come back. So I just basically, went to main menu and came, because it saves pretty frequently. So I just went to main menu, came back, and it was playing the music. And so I mean,
that's the problem, not knowing when the game's fucked up, when somebody should be saying something, especially in my case it was Groot, which is even worse, because then like you don't know Groot. I mean, like you don't know what he's talking. Even when he's talking, you don't know what he's saying. So when he's not talking, it's even worse. So
Dude,
you don't notice that the game is bugged
I
and the
was
whole
like,
time.
there's a slight spoilers here, guys, for nothing major in the storyline, but there was like a device that was gonna that he helped was gonna teach him how to speak whatever the language is, Groot's language. And I was like, yes, I get to hear, I get to understand, if it happens, it hasn't happened yet. So it was like, all right, fine.
Well, it didn't happen to me, so I
Okay,
guess it.
yeah, fair enough then, fair enough. Anyway, the worlds are vibrant, bro. I
Yes,
mean, this
bro.
is just some of the most vibrant looking
Yes.
alien worlds. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's alien, but it's alien for a reason. And I'm just this is so well uh thought of. There was
Yeah.
definitely some sort of just enjoyment and I don't know, the focus behind, obviously technical wise, yes, it needs to be cleaned up a little bit. Um but overall, I mean, they have delivered a really, really solid game.
You mentioned the alien worlds. They legitimately feel alien. They don't
Yeah,
feel like
yeah. The
Star Trek
flora and
Alien, where
fauna of
it's
these
like
worlds are unlike anything you've ever even encountered yet.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I was at the beginning of the game, I was worrying a little bit about the enemies that you're attacking, because they were like, oh shit, so it's like a
Yellow
yellow
mode.
yellow cube attacking you. It's like, oh,
Those
that's
are
not
pains in the
very.
ass, for the record. Yeah.
Oh, they are, but they get better. Like
Yeah.
enemies become more varied and
Yeah.
more interesting. It's
For sure.
not
For
just
sure.
fighting nonsense.
And so far the storyline has been it's a very what you would if you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy the film and if you've read the comics, you would look at this and go, this is your quintessential, very normal story of what the Guardians of the Galaxy do. That these guys,
Hmm.
they're mercenaries for hire,
Hmm.
for whatever that can be needed, and they're constantly needing money. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's very that type of thing, almost smug like, almost, you really think about it. Obviously his by the way, I don't know how I feel about this, but there's certain
Careful with spoilers.
the well no I'm just saying there's certain like, I guess, fan servicey stuff where I'm just like, oh, so this is just Disney flexing their muscle here, I guess.
Really?
Like,
I mean,
okay.
I I saw a couple of things, but let me tell you, like, you know that the game, for example, throws you different costumes that you can wear. I
Hmm.
never changed anybody's costume in the entire game. It was not like Spider-Man with, oh, I like this new well, also the Spider-Man costume gave you other powers, so it was cool to have them also.
Yeah, I
But
was gonna say,
you
yeah.
know, it was like this game gave me, like, I had no incentive to change what the Guardians of the Galaxy looked like from beginning to end. They wore the exact same attire because like nothing else felt as normal and as perfect, as fitting as the original garbs that they were wearing, basically,
I have,
uh
I've moved it over to, I've changed. So first off, there's several. From what I can tell, there's about 8 or 9
each,
outfits,
right.
including obviously the original they start with. I have a second one for Groot, which is the 2014 movie Groot, essentially the whatever, but he's
Yeah,
like slimmer, and I'm like,
he's slimmer, yeah.
yeah, I don't want this guy. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna
That's
do that.
not Groot,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's Groot from that, but not the
Yeah, that's
Groot.
not this Groot. Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
so I was like, I didn't change that one. Star Lord got some like official like Nova outfit. I was like, nope, that's not happening either. And
Yeah,
I kept going.
exactly.
But I
Yeah.
did change Drax into one where he's got an outfit, and you could still see his arms, but he's got like a chest plate. I'm like, oh, this looks kind of cool. I'll keep this one. And Gamora, I actually put Gamora back into the 2014 one as well. So, because this is Gamora, I remember, for the movie. All right, we'll use that one. Rocket, it's hard to tell. He doesn't. I don't have many for him, but he's so small. It's like, well, whatever. No, half the time I'm like, he's not even wearing anything, is he? No, he's not wearing anything. But anyway, it is, in short, man. It's just it's a lot of fun. I am really enjoying. There's something I do want to mention as well. I while there's a lot of stuff that it shows you how to do, it does leave certain things out. It took me a while to figure out,
Uh,
how do I use Peter Quill's specials that I'm unlocking? Because I'm like,
oh
it doesn't really
yes,
point out how to use them, and I'm like, okay, but
it's
it's
kind
not on the
of
list. I'm like, and then I finally figured this shit out, but I figured it out like hours into the game, where I'm like, I already unlocked. I'm a level 3 unlock on this. You know what I mean? And haven't used any of them yet. Because I'm
oh
like, where the
shit.
hell are they at? You
So
know,
he's just firing
I'm
basically.
just
Everybody was
firing. Yeah,
doing
I'm just
cool
shooting all the
moves, and
time,
you're
and
just
yeah,
shooting.
exact, and meleeing, because I like to get up in people's faces in melee.
Oh yeah,
Um,
melee
yeah,
feels good. Yeah,
but
also.
but yeah, so little things like that, where it's like, well, you took the time to explain these things, but you kind of left that out, and well, here I am still. But now that I figured that out, it first off, it it's made the battles definitely much more fun, because
Mhm.
I was only using my team's special moves, and
It's like, hey,
clearly
I got special moves too.
yeah, I mean, I've unlocked them. I'm in level 3. What the hell? But anyway, so yeah, man.
They're cool moves too.
He does. He does. The most recent one
Yeah.
is the explosion with the eye of the hurricane one, and I was like, oh, this
Oh,
is
where yeah,
great.
where
Yeah,
he does like that twirling thing and
yeah,
he
yeah. The
explodes
area
everything
effect.
around,
Yeah, yeah,
and it almost looks like artistic a little bit,
yeah. Almost very
almost like
musical.
stage, like
Almost
a
like musical.
stage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
yeah.
yeah, it looks good.
But dude, hands down, dude, Drax is freaking hilarious, bro.
Yes, he is.
Hilarious. I cannot
He's-
stop laughing. And to be fair, the other ones are pretty funny too, but
oh
Drax
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
consistent. Just like, oh my god, this dude, and he's obviously, this crazy part. He's not even trying to be funny.
No,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
He's not
That's
doing,
what I was gonna say.
yeah.
It's not that he's trying to be a clown. It's that it's just legit. The way he reacts and talks about everything, and how he refers to you all the time by full name,
I
Peter
totally made
Quill.
Peter Quill. Yes, yes, Peter Quill.
Peter Quill.
Oh my god,
It's
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 so hilarious.
it's.
So
I'd like a hell of a lot more than in the movies. It's like, okay, this drags. To be fair, I like the version of these characters more, and that's not just to say, oh, just oh, it's fun to shit on the movie, because it's not. I honestly like, the Guardians of the Galaxy, the first movie
first
was
one.
great.
Mhm.
All right, second movie was bad, but it was not the character's fault. It was the writer and whoever came up
The
with that shit.
focus, yeah, it
The
was like, what
focus,
is it?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
The characters themselves, like all of that, they're great. And I can't. Maybe you can, but I can't think of other actors that would have played the role of each of those characters better, than what they were focused. So I'm fine with that. What I'm saying is that I was worried about, they're making a Guardians of the Galaxy, a game, and Square Enix already did that with Avengers, and apparently didn't go very well with Avengers. And turns out that, oh no, these characters they actually know, they actually nail what the Guardians of the Galaxy, like, an expectation of what the Guardians of the Galaxy should be. They obviously nail that, but at the same time, it's not like they're playing it too close to their movie. It's
No, no,
almost
it's
like,
very different. As a matter of fact, if and I won't go into details, but there are plot points from the films where it's like, whoa, wait a minute, that didn't
yeah,
happen. Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, so we're in a completely different version of it, and
yeah. This is
which is
a
a good thing. It shouldn't even be like,
multiverse
oh,
as multiverse.
yeah,
Let's
yeah, it should
say.
definitely, have its own, and I think that's what the best part of it is. It's not
Mhm.
trying to do anything but be its own and stand on its own too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for that, it's nailing it. And like it or not, also Square Enix, on this particular version, or this
Mhm.
particular property, wisely chose a studio that understands how to make these kind of games. IDOS Montreal, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the one trying to
Um,
make it so freaking Deus Ex.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Um,
And
yeah.
so that's that, which they screwed up on the Marvel's Avengers. They gave that particular type of game that they were trying to make, Crystal Dynamics never did before. You know what I mean? It's like,
I mean, they have done. If they would have kept it to what it should have been, they would have done a pretty good job, because they did
that's
Lara
what I'm
Croft
saying.
games very
The
well.
fact that they made it a gas game,
Exactly. That's where
and that team has never done that before.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it's like, well, what did you expect was going to happen? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, hello, we have proof of this with Anthem. You know what I mean? It's like it was a team that never had to do that before, and now you've kind of, hey, you got to do this. This is what you got to do.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you expect was going to happen? You know what I mean? It's one thing when there's a transition from like an internal transition where we want to make this thing because there's a desire to do it, and because of that, they're going to do whatever they can to, thinking of Guerrilla, for instance, guys
Yeah.
who make first person shooters decided to say, we want to try this, and they even created an engine for it. You know, and it's just like, okay,
Right.
well, that's a desire in the background. But when you have thrown something and say, I know you never worked on this before, but this is
I'm
what
gonna
we
need you
need
to
you to
work
do,
on that.
and
Yeah.
make sure you do it right. And you have 2.5 years, make it happen. You know what I mean? It's like, what do you expect is going to happen in that particular case? So props to Eidos Montreal. I'm not going to give Square Enix props here. Eidos Montreal, for delivering an awesome fucking game. You know, I'm very very pleased with the game. So much fun. I think that's that's the thing I had the most that I mean, I'm laughing all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, and she's even Joy, my wife, she's just like, what are you laughing at? I was like, you have to hear, and I've recorded stuff just so you can hear it. It's just so hilarious, dude. It's just a little.
I've been waiting for you to post to post things. The problem is that the game is plot heavy.
Yeah, it's very plot heavy, and I don't want to. And half those conversations happen while they're talking about the plot. You know, it's just like,
exactly.
I'd rather not even. You know, so I've been very not sharing of any of that information, and also because of that, and if Chaos and Dark are listening, yes, I have been playing on the games on the days I normally play with you guys, but this is very dialogue heavy, and I'm like, I cannot have a conversation while also playing this game. I need focus.
This game doesn't give you a break. The entire time that you're playing,
there's
the game
is
they're talking, and the problem is, I mean, if you don't hear them talking, your game is probably bugged. You should reload because some audio shit happened. Like that's how much. Yeah, the moment you stop, you don't listen to them saying something. It's like, oh no, something's fucked up.
Something's up. Yeah, something's up. That's a shame. That's really a shame of that. And I mean, I get it. No game's going to be perfect and all the same. This is a shame that would happen, but yeah, I agree. If it goes more than 30 seconds without someone saying something's up. You know what I mean? Exactly. Because if you just stand there, they're gonna have conversations. It's just gonna naturally pop up. And props to them for again doing that, because that's what a group would do. You just stand there, and they call me out whenever I'm like looking for a loot, because I'm always looking around for fucking items and shit. It's like, where's this guy going? Why is he? Oh man, here goes Quill again. You know what I mean?
That's what he does. It's like, oh, don't worry.
And I'm like, that's awesome. That's natural. That's exactly what would happen. For me personally, I'm like, because they're calling me out on it, I almost go, oh, I don't want to go get it then, because this is kind of, because now I'm making it a game. You know what I mean? And I'm like, but this is so good. It's
they're acknowledging it. It's like
they're acknowledging. Yeah, I almost feel like if they can put those, so the things I'm going to get are a little, they're like parts and stuff like that. You can and then later on you can go to like a workbench and get upgrades and stuff like that from that Rocket will create for you, and and so, but if a part of me feels like, man, if I could just collect those from people I'm killing, I won't have to search. You know what I mean? I don't want to be searching around, like, because then you want to go. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I guess not. But then it's like, well, why are they carrying parts? That's not realistic. Like, fine, I guess.
I told you, just get the thing that tells you when there's items available, so you don't have to like waste time looking around. It'll just tell you like, oh, There's an item nearby, and then you can be like, "Oh, cool."
Yeah, I've seen the power up, and I'm always kind of looking like I'm gonna search anyway. You know what I mean? And it's like, but I can probably use. That's a shame because I probably use that one to
You
get
should
the
use it
outfits.
because there's no other reason to search for it. Well, maybe that's not true, but I didn't find like I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I discover everything because I started checking like stuff and I did miss like a particular area. I'm not gonna say what it is, but like I did miss a particular area. So that tells me that I probably missed more, but it's okay. It's okay because just like you, it's like it would have felt like it would have felt unnatural to do the gaming thing if my team is here waiting for me to actually carry on the mission.
Yeah, yeah.
And not only that, but they're actually giving me shit about not
They just
going
annoy
forward.
me. They're going, "Where's the guy, dude? Can you please focus?" You know, I'm like I'm in the corner somewhere near a dumpster. Like, oh, there has to be something behind here. Yeah, I like that, but that's what I'm saying. Even if you're not doing it, you're just standing there and you let your team stand there, they just start to converse, and even Groot, I am Groot, and then of course Rocket will go, no, I don't think that's what he meant by that, It's like, what the hell? They just feel like natural conversations, and when you think of the films, they kind of did that, you know what I mean? It's like they were always saying something, someone was always saying something, and so they just nailed the aesthetic of what a Guardians of the Galaxy game, single player game, should be. I was concerned about the combat. I was like, well, I'm not sure how this is going to work, but it works like a charm. You know what I mean? It's like this becomes very natural, very almost
like a conductor. Like you feel like a conductor.
Yeah. You are exactly. You're a conductor of the battle, as you are a conductor of the ship and everything else. Yeah. And so, it just freaking works. You know what I mean? And yeah, credit to them. I don't know how far I'm in it. I don't know. I'm like in chapter 8 or something like that. So I don't even know how much left I have. But I can easily see myself immediately restarting all over again. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping that there is a version where it keeps my upgrades, so that I can just, because if I have those upgrades and I'm, whatever, then I only know that I need to just upgrade enough to get the rest. But we'll see. We'll see what comes from that. But
I can tell you if you want to know, but I don't think you're asking if he has like a new game plus or something like that.
Well, new game plus, the issue with new game plus is usually it ups the ante, and for me, I'm like, there should be a version like ups the ante. In other words, it ups the difficulty, adds more whatever, and I'm like, that's cool.
That's what it
but
should do.
I need an option for me just to redo my thing with everything I have. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't
on the same level. So then everything becomes super easy then because you've already done it.
I mean, well, true, but I mean, I guess
I guess I like the new game plus version because
it's done new game plus with other games. So I appreciate those as well. It's just like I would love the choice to just say how many times have I revisited Uncharted or something like and it's like, and by the way, that's another perfect example. This is basically an Uncharted version of Guardians of the Galaxy. You know what I mean? It's like you have a very character narrative oriented story and beautiful graphics, and stuff like that. It's like it's very very cool like that. But yeah, I revisited that title a bunch of times, but when I revisit, because I'm revisiting, I'm like, I'm not here for the challenge. I'm really just here to watch and play the story again. And sometimes the gameplay gets in the way. And I've actually, when I've done my revisits, I just drop it to the bottom. Very easy. Like, okay, you know what I mean? And to be fair, very easy means, a headshot actually takes somebody out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because that's not the case.
The way it should be, except for you. Exactly. You take 13 headshots to get one bit of your life off.
Exactly. Which is, I mean, it is a pulpy.
If you're a badass, why not?
A pulpy movie. So, but yeah, that's really all I have been playing. I
have a question.
Yeah.
Legitimate. Not a jokey question or anything like that. How many times have you been burned by the fucking photo mode?
Not even a one.
What? No! you traitor! I'm very happy for you.
Because I have to ask you this, and I'm glad you brought it up, because I completely forgot about that. The L3 and R3, which is the trigger buttons for anybody who doesn't know, they're not set to do photo mode.
Not the trigger. Not the trigger.
No, the R3, the sticks. I'm sorry, the sticks.
The sticks. Yeah.
The R3 and the L3 are not set up. The L3 is set up to. That's what I figured out when I use my Guardians. When I bring up the Guardian menu, there's an L3 option. That's where I press L3 to go and switch to Peter Quill's specials. So I didn't know that, and then I saw it at one point. I was like, "Oh, maybe that'll do a special," but it didn't do anything. He just brought up another menu, and I didn't saw it. It happened so quick, then I had to go right back to the battle. But anyway, I figured that out. So the L3 only does that, and the R3 is the visor.
The visor, right? But so what happens when you press them both at the same time? Nothing. Like you don't go into photo mode because maybe the console mode doesn't have a photo mode because they technically have their own photo. You know how they already have like their own.
I've never pressed them at the same time, so I don't know what would happen.
That happened to me by accident. A lot of times during battles.
So that's the option, right? So you're saying pressing both of them will bring up photo mode?
Pressing both is what stops the game and like pauses the game completely and it just changes to photo mode.
No, the only time I access photo mode is literally I didn't even know that was an option to do it, and if it mentioned it, I must have missed it. But I literally like pause, and on the pause menu is the photo mode. I just go there. I didn't know it's never mentioned that I can do the R3 L3 to bring it up, and I haven't done it by accident. So.
God damn it! I can't have that much heavy hand,
dude.
Maybe you should try. You ought to try it. You know what?
I am going to try it. Now that you've mentioned it, I want to try it to see if that's even. Do
the test
because I was curious. You played this on. You started on using the DualSense, and you switched over to the
Xbox controller.
Xbox controller. Okay, and
to the Xbox Series.
But the input for it works the same, right? Even on the Xbox controller, you push both sticks and you get the photo mode.
Yeah.
I don't know how you did that shit by
really now, to be fair, one of the reasons I asked is because it happened a lot less on the Xbox controller because it's pressed. I don't know if it's because of the way the things are, but but it happened a lot. Also, it's kind of heavier.
So it happened a lot less, meaning it still happened.
It still happened. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It still happened. So, the way that it was happening when I was using the dual thing, and I wasn't blaming the controller. I was like, oh, this game is fucking broken. If they actually meant it to be this way, they fucked up big time on this particular option only. You know, if they would have given us the option to go to the pause menu by pausing ourselves and selecting the menu and going into photo mode, it would have been better than just let me just press these two buttons because almost every other battle it was happening. It was super, super annoying.
See, I'm just looking it up here. It says the game makes the first way easy, while the second way isn't explained to the player at all. Using the pause menu, go directly photo mode. Boom, you got the second method is to press in on the joysticks. This will be the L3, R3, and PlayStation. As a result, players can move around the environment and see things they are not supposed to see. Anyway, so obviously that proves that that's exactly. But I'm still gonna try it to bring it up. But I have not randomly done that. And I have to ask how can like in my head I'm going, what could you be possibly doing at that moment that you can hit both sticks down? I don't even
at the same time it's the transition it's transitioning. It's honestly I think and this is a main thing I do notice there are several like it happened to me, you know, which game happened? Halo. I used to, a lot of times when that button was, I forgot what it was assigned, but I will constantly press it by mistake when all I was trying to do was just like turn around. I will press it hard and I don't remember if I threw a grenade. It was probably to throw a grenade at that point or something. It's like, damn experiment. So I'm convinced now. Now that we have run the experiment, now I'm convinced that it's me, and I have heavy thumbs, evidently.
You just, like I said, you're just a brute on your controller.
Yes.
I again, I have not, and every press on the stick has been a purposeful press on the stick. So I don't think I've ever pressed.
You're plugging
button by accident. Yeah,
like if it was a string instrument. I am banging like it's a conga.
That's most likely what it is, sir. Well done, sir. Well done. You have the
Donkey Kong
the grip strength of I was gonna say the grip strength of Donkey Kong. Is that always your character in Mario Kart? Be honest. No. Okay. Just throwing it out there. Okay.
I don't have a particular one. Though. It might as well be though.
I know at this point, I think you were meant to be together.
I'm meant to be Donkey Kong.
Yeah. So, other than that, I have watched a bunch of stuff. I'm just gonna quickly roll through these. First, I did finish Squid Game, and I do highly recommend this for everyone. And I know I was one who was turned away because I always get that way when things are, oh my god,
they get to be super famous.
Yeah, and it's just like. I'll see it when I can. You know what I mean? It's that all that excitement usually just turns me off. You know what I mean? Oh, it just completely turns me away. And so I started watching this because my team, they were always like, "Oh no, hey, you gotta watch, you gotta watch." Well, okay, fine. And so my wife and I started watching. She got hooked. She was just like, "Oh yeah, we need to watch more of this." We showed one episode to Ed, and he went off and freaking marathoned it. You know what I mean?
Damn.
So it is again real quick. Basically, it's almost like a game that happens that's being held by this elusive group, and they play child's games. For instance, like red light, green light. If anybody remember playing that when they were kids. Where if you play well, you move on to the next. If you don't, you die literally. And every person is worth 100,000 won, whatever that is in their money. I think it's 100,000. Yeah, I think it's 100,000 won. So as people get knocked off, well, that money goes into the bank, and it'll get split in with whoever survives in the end. And so. Again, really cool stuff. The audio in English is a little campy, and it just sounds that way. It's really well done. They have this thing where they can. I've noticed they've used better lip syncing, where they use phrases that lip sync well with how the actor's speaking. So, which is really well done. But sometimes it's really shorthand, through what actually is being said. But on top of that, it could be some really silly stuff as well. And but other than that, I mean, outside of that, and that's a nitpick, because if you've seen any type of foreign movie, particularly Asian foreign movies, you have those weird characters who yell, "Hey, what are you doing? You're gonna get the cops calling you!" That weird. Yeah. Is like. Do people say that? People don't say that, you know what I mean? And when you listen to it in the audio in the Korean language, he's probably saying the same thing. It just doesn't sound the same. You know what I mean? It's just like it doesn't sound as silly and campy. You know what I mean?
It's the main difference because it's gonna sound campy, and that's like a lot of people don't understand there's translation and then there's localization.
Localization, exactly.
In games, you see that a lot being addressed. But when you have movies, like that's a little harder.
It's harder to address, exactly.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I still highly recommend it. It's only I think like 9 episodes, something like that. It's not even very long, but it's very good stuff. And happy I actually got a chance to watch it. I saw another movie is called. This was one of my wife's picks from our little thing that we do. It's called Charade. And it is a classic Audrey Hepburn, Cary Grant film. And I didn't really like this one. I'm going to tell you right now. I was not a fan of this one. What basically happens is this woman...
I'm not happy about this selection.
I'm not happy with this one. this woman, her husband dies from mysterious circumstances, and apparently there's a bunch of folks who think she has money that was owed to them. So she's being sort of hunted down, and she meets Cary Grant, who apparently wants to help her out. And this movie also has a lot of stuff that would just not fly today, for the record. I mean, it's a lot of a lot of you know men higher than women type of thing, where it's just like you see it and you get it for its time. By the way, the movie's from 1963, so it's not even really that old. No, because considering I've seen some for the 30s and 40s, I'm like, yeah, back then I can almost understand this one, but for 1963, I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, I don't really have much to say on this because I really didn't enjoy it. But it was her choice. It is what it is. And
did she enjoy it?
She was iffy on it as well. She's never seen it before, but it was her choice, and it was like, it's fine. I've had my share of duds that I've picked, so exactly. I can't be. I definitely wasn't angry like that. I was just like, and she's picked some really good ones where I never would have suspected to even put on my list. Anyway, moving on. The next one was one of my choices, and this is a movie called The Whistlers. And so here's I invite you to see the trailer for this movie because it's very odd. But basically, it's a heist film, and a group of folks, including a policeman, get together to learn the language of whistling. And it's an old school language, apparently, that has existed, but all it sounds like to people who are not hearing it sounds like birds, or birds maybe chirping far away or something like that, but it's actually messages that are being passed by. And so it's really it's foreign, but there is some English in it, because they kind of go between Spanish, what was the other one, Romanian, and English. So whenever the Romanian is speaking to the Spanish guy, he doesn't speak Spanish, the other one doesn't speak Romanian, so they all speak English because it's like, well, this is the communal language.
That's basic.
yeah, exactly. Do you speak basic?
Like in Star Wars. Do you speak basic?
It's really interesting. It has a lot of your intrigue and betrayals and underhanded deals, and it's actually pretty good. It's been on my list because it came out in, I think, 2020, if I'm not mistaken. It was one of
this is recent.
2019.
Okay.
Sorry, 2019.
Wow.
But it was listed as a one of those rare gems. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, okay, let me check this out. And I enjoyed it. I can definitely recommend this one. Nothing too high. I'd probably give it a 3.5, really, because
that's a good one.
There is a because of the way the film is. I want to say it's Portuguese, like Portuguese. Maybe it's Romanian. I don't know, but the type of film you can feel is like it has that very European feel to it, which can have those long, unspoken moments where you're like, "What's happening here? What is it I'm supposed to be focusing on?" What you're really focusing on is either what was just recently said, and it's because they're pondering it, or it's just meant to be left blank for you to kind of, I guess, figure out what's happening. What's about to occur or something. Yeah,
somebody fucked up on the editing badly,
or somebody screwed up on the editing. But it happens so often in European films. I feel like it's on purpose. So, but anyway,
why is this person playing ping pong with himself for 3 minutes straight?
Why are we still watching this? What are we meant to gather from what we're seeing here? Yeah, I didn't realize this. This is actually on Hulu. And I actually ended up renting this, but oh well.
You paid money for this.
I did. I mean, it was like the lower one, the $3.99 or $2.99.
Oh, there you go.
But it's really good stuff. Again, one of those heist movies, which I always love. And the last thing I saw was a film called Black Bear, and this is a very strange one. So it stars Aubrey Plaza, probably the only person you probably recognize from Parks and Rec. No one else that I saw in the film that I recognize. But basically, it's about a filmmaker who uses. So to say too much is to spoil it, but at the same time, it's like I don't think anybody's going to see this movie anyway. But so the filmmaker goes to a cabin, which is being run by a couple. And
sounds like you're trying to tell a joke here.
And so what they end up it's a weird story, but basically it's the obvious thing. You can see that the woman who's Aubrey Plaza, and she's the director, they're holding they have this cabin to have people, either actors or whatever, to either use the cabin in films or to come here to write about their movies, whatever. It's just like almost like a retreat. And you can immediately see an attraction between Aubrey and the husband, and obviously that becomes a thing, and then it just has this random twist in the middle, completely throws everything on its head.
Vampires appear out of nowhere and they start attacking, and then Tarantino shows up and be like, "Hey, you stole my movie."
It is,
and then Silver Surfer appears. Yo, dude.
It is really. It's interesting, but the point of the film is really about like discovery, self-discovery, self-understanding of one person's self. And I can't even explain the second half because that's like a huge spoiler. But I guess since I feel like no one's ever going to watch this movie, so I'm just going to hint at that the first part, which is everything I mentioned beforehand, ends up being sort of the script for a movie being filmed in the second half, if that makes sense.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yet it still stars the same people. And I'm just like, what just happened here? You know what I mean? So
you sure you're not playing Alan Wake again?
It could be. This, if anything, this definitely exists in the world of Control. I mean, that's
there you go.
Sure. Anyway, a decent film. I can give this one a 3.0. It's not very long too. It's I think 100 minutes long or something like that. So it's very it's quick in and out. But it is also very what would you call it? Well, I don't want to say frou-frou.
Boring.
No, it's got one of those endings that you love.
So it doesn't have one, and that is we're still waiting for them to do the DLC to it. Is what you're saying?
So you can get the real ending. Yes,
exactly.
In your book, that would be most likely how you'd come out from this film. So, anyway, that, sir, is all that I have been doing. What you been up to, sir?
So let's see. How do I even follow up?
No, it actually feels good. You're seeing it from my angle. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I know exactly. It's like, what? Oh, it's my turn. Okay, I feel like that's what happens to you. No, Andito, you listen, which is kind of insane. So, I'm not gonna make this long. I've actually I've been sick this week, so I didn't do a lot of playing. I did stick to playing Forza Horizon 5. I tried going back to Tales of Arise, and I played a little bit, like maybe half an hour, and then I realized like, I don't know if I want to continue playing this game because it's like I have to be in the mood for that type of game. JRPG game, especially one that is very formulaic. Like if you're trying to do something very different, like, hey, fucking Final Fantasy VII Remake, I still go to I'll still defend my position that Final Fantasy VII Remake is probably one of my favorite JRPGs of all time because of what they did. They changed enough on it to make it very fresh, very original, very interesting, very wow factor, and a sense of being there.
It also, in many ways, I would argue, respects the original. You know what I mean? In a different way that you wouldn't expect. You know what I mean? It's like it respects the original. Say, all of you know this. It's almost like they said, you know what? Square Enix realizes that they've released the original version at least 15 times before this. So everyone at some point or another has played the original. You know this story. That still happened. However, ... You know what I mean? And then the game fills it in, which is pretty cool.
It does, but it gives, but it also at the same time, while it's doing that, and while it is actually letting me relive what I imagined myself feeling when I was a kid playing Final Fantasy VII, is that that sense of like, wow, like this world is amazing and all that. It's not it's funny to say, but it's not retreading 100% what it did. Like, it's actually giving me hope for something, even though it still needs to retell the story more than likely. There's a chance that I might still learn new stuff, like I learned new stuff in this game. Like, anyway, to say is that it doesn't feel like I'm retreading old territory already. Like, I know what's going to happen. I know, like, yes, I know what's going to happen, or do I? But that was Final Fantasy VII remake. Tales of Vesperia, obviously, it's a brand new game. It's something something entirely new, but the formula is already being done to death. It's like I haven't put that many hours on it, and it's already starting to feel like, okay, so this is the next section on the map. I meet a new person on this section of the map. I need to do this person's loyalty mission, or whatever the hell is it that I have to do on this part. I liberate it. Now this person is a permanent affix to my character. I go to the next part of the map and rinse and repeat. And I don't want to do that, because unlike a Final Fantasy remake, unlike a Guardians of the Galaxy story, unlike those games that have a story that really, really keep you like super entertained, unless you're into like super anime storyline, which I have to admit I'm not 100%, and that's not to say that I haven't learned to love some of them, but this one's particular is not that it's not that interesting. It's almost like anime trope A, put anime trope A with anime trope C, and mix them together and throw a little bit of D, X, and Y, and let's see what comes up. And that's what I call by formulaic. If it feels like they have done this already before in many ways, and that's not to say that the game doesn't have like cool aspects. I still think the battles are neat and fun, but when the battles are done and I have to go into, like, the part that stopped me was going into this new town, and I was like, oh, okay, I need to go to town. That means I need to talk to all these people. Half of them don't have anything particularly interesting to say,
but you gotta talk to them all, because
because exactly, and that's the part where I'm like, okay, that this is dumb progression. This was done well back in the maybe PlayStation 2 or beginning of PlayStation 3 era, Xbox 360. Like if this game would have come out for Xbox 360, like it would have been like right at home. Nowadays I feel like other games have matured. They have made more interesting things. I mean, unfortunately, it didn't happen with Persona. Persona was the Persona 3, which is the one that I got my interest on the whole series. I fucking love that game. And Persona 4, I also friggin' love it, even though I was starting to notice a little bit like, oh, okay, so now they're trying to do away with the parts that felt like super original and try to make it, a little bit more mainstream. And then Persona 5 came up and they're like, okay, no, let's go super basic mainstream with, like, let's make this, as formulaic as possible, as one-dimensional as possible. Like, okay, now you meet this next person. This next person needs his loyalty mission done. Okay, good. It's party. Okay, let's go meet the next mission. And with the next mission comes the next person of your party. Tell us what they want, Johnny. It's like, no, I don't want to play that. I don't want to play that. I like my progression to be a little bit more interesting than that. So I put aside. I'm not even sure if I'm ever going to go back to it.
Wow.
The only reason I did that was because I have been playing Forza Horizon heavily and Forza Horizon 5 heavily, and I've been enjoying the crap out of it. But that's all I've been doing. I've been just driving cars. What I like about car driving games is that that's progression that I could do on my time, and I don't feel like I have to do it. Like I just have to continue, otherwise I'm going to forget the story or anything like that, but I don't just want to do that, And the thing with Forza Horizon that I'm finding, for Forza Horizon 5 that I'm finding, is that I'm starting to realize that this game is great, but it's not really doing anything extraordinary that Forza Horizon 4 didn't already brought to the table, and Forza Horizon 3 before it. And I think I have played, don't get me wrong, I'm going to continue playing this one, of course, because I'm having a good time with it. But at the same time, my enthusiasm it has been a little bit more, has waned a little bit, because it just, at the end of the day, it feels like I have played this game before. You're not really giving me more. I mean, you're giving me bigger area, yes. You're giving me, beautiful graphics and new music and all that. In some of the areas, I feel like you have cut corners. Like I remember that you used to be able to explore each vehicle in detail. Like you can actually open up, pop the hood and see the motor, and all these intricate details. And now I'm noticing that you can't really do that in a lot of cars. It's like, hey, wait a minute. I thought that you were able to do. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm noticing now because I'm doing a little bit more of the of the under the hood things, kind of in the sense of going a little bit deeper into not modifying, but tuning the car settings, which I've never done. But again, trying to look for a way to play this game differently, have forced myself to learn a little bit more of, and actually I'm having a good time with it. I'm having a good time learning about tuning the vehicles proper, and it feels like, okay, at least I'm playing it right this time. I'm not just pressing the button that says, oh, upgrade me, and whatever the AI thinks is the best way to auto upgrade your car, which is not always the best, but you don't know that, because again, I'm not a tuner. It'll just give you what it thinks should be your best options to get your car souped up, but not exceed your limit to where your car is no longer competitive on that rank, and you have to compete on a higher rank, because it's not always about having the fastest car. It's about having the fastest car
that handles.
That handles, exactly, for your, for that particular rank of phrases. Exactly. So yeah, the game's still amazing. Still so many freaking cars. It's kind of insane, the amount of cars. It's like almost close to 500 cars. The open world, it is a beautiful scenery. It's beautiful, but at the same time feels a little empty. And I kind of regret that, because I don't know if it's like what I loved about the Forza Horizon series always before, I've mentioned it, is the feeling of oh, this world is not sterilized. Like Gran Turismo always felt fucking sterile. Like those, like
there's
might
nobody
as
out
well
there.
be the Cars universe, from Disney's Cars, and no humans exist because it was all like the cars were driving themselves. Might as well, and there was you didn't see a human anywhere. But and I'm talking about the old ones. Obviously, the new ones have done a much better job of fixing that. This one's, when you're in the festival, you see the people and all that. But when you're like in the cities, on the countryside or whatever, like you don't see a soul, and that also applies to other vehicles. Like, what the hell? Why is Mexico so like barren and empty? They should. I would have expected them to at least, let's say, if like I understand, there's areas where you want to run fast and you want to, you want to book it, but at the same time, I want to have a feeling of a little bit of excitement and danger. I just don't want to book it just for the sake of look at my car going so fast like Sonic the Hedgehog. Like I just don't want to go fast. I want to have a little bit of challenge. Give me some traffic a little bit on the road. And the game, I don't know if this is a bug. I've heard it is. And if it's not, it's a very shitty feature now. But I have literally seen traffic despawn in front of me when I'm about to hit it, just so that I can continue racing. Like, what kind of bullshit is that? It's like, if it was an accessibility option, I would have accepted it. But if you're just gonna let me plow through anything and everything without any worried about what can happen to, my car, or the time, or I don't know, without any punishment, like why even have roads? No, seriously, might as well give me a freaking, like the DeLorean from Back to the Future 3 or 2. Let me just fly at that point, because there's no, you can crash again. They did it again, motherfucker. I hate the fact that they brought it back. They made it so that you can just pile through almost anything and everything but like the largest rock, or a building. If it's a house, and this could be like a shitty, raggedy wooden house, but if it's tall enough of size, it will stop you on your tracks. All right. You don't pile through that shit. But if it's like a normal sized tree that should really, mess up your car, no. You will just like pile through it like if it was nothing, like you had the biggest chainsaw in front of you, and not affect your speed at all. To where, again, it's like, okay, Microsoft, I understand that you want to be very inclusive and all that is nice and beautiful, but don't stupefy my game. Don't stupefy, the series just for the sake of having babies play. It's not worth it, because now this is no longer fun. If I have a car and it'll be like the most low to the ground, high speed McLaren, whatever it is, concept car, and I'm able to off-road with that shit, like, what kind of sense does that make? Like, that is stupid.
I can
like,
tell you
my
right
car
now,
should
that's
be,
definitely not going to be it hasn't been, so I don't see them doing it. But Gran Turismo 7 is not going to have that.
No,
you go off-road, you're going to be completely all over the place, yeah.
You should be, and I get it. This is not motorsports. This is meant to be like the car celebration, stuff like that. I get that. Honestly, I don't want to play motorsport. I haven't played a single Forza, and I'm a race car game guy. Mm-hmm. I haven't bought a motorsport game since Forza Motorsport 2. And I could download 7 on Game Pass if I want to, but that's like, I haven't wanted to go into it because I consider Forza Horizon to be the more fun the more fun of the series. And now that I'm learning to tune my cars a little bit, more and learning what each part of the vehicle does, I'm like sitting here like, oh man, I can't wait to apply all this knowledge that I've learned to Gran Turismo when it comes out, because that's the game that is gonna let me actually feel like I'm racing properly. Not this fucking bullshit that lets me pile through anything and everything, and that has like because the world is huge. Like I said, it's a beautiful, open, gorgeous, open world game that is empty. You see other players, and I already hated this, and I already saw this happening with 4, and I want to say 3 might have done it also, but that's my problem. What is the point of having other players if when they're on the road, like you see the blips on the road where they're located everywhere in the world, right? But unless you actually like interact with them by saying, "Hey, want to race?" or something like that, you can like you have like controls that you can select and you can communicate very easily if you want to like race or whatever. Unless you do that, they're ghosts in the game. Like they look translucent. Like, what kind of crap is that? Why wouldn't you make it a little bit more elegant where they could be seen? And if they have an option that says, "Oh, please don't hurt me," or some shit like that, then let me pass right through them or whatever. Don't make him automatically look like ghosts, because that detracts from the whole experience. That just looks silly and takes away a lot of the enjoyment. Yeah, granted, when you're in the races for real. And obviously you're going to have real collisions and everything's going to matter. Like when you're racing on that game is obviously at its best. I've had the opportunity to play the Forza Arcade, or whatever they're calling it, which is a series of it's like a series of mini games that you play, obviously in your vehicle. So one of them will be like infected, and you have to tag if you're the infected, you have to tag other cars and they become infected now, and the other team can either disinfect them or try to stay alive for as long as the clock allows it, and then it turns, and yeah, it's kind of like or it has something that looks similar to Capture the Flag, or something that's like, okay, get these flags and put them on this particular other size, other areas of the of the map, and avoid getting tackled by the other cars. So and they sound stupid, but you know what? When I was playing, I was having a good time with it. It was dumb. It's like, okay, this is dumb fun. Obviously, it's not based on any reality, because of course you don't tag vehicles, you crash them. Yeah, exactly. if that happens. But this world is silly. Like, whatever. I'm not gonna blame it for trying to bring something a little bit more varied, and I can appreciate some of the things that the game have done also that have improved over 4. For example, the later, like the end game or the meta on Forza Horizon 4, for the most part, was, if you want to have the best vehicle and the most competitive vehicle, it had to be an all-wheel drive. Basically, it was like the front wheel and rear wheel drives. It was very hard to be competitive on those. Now they have actually done work to where now you're not longer limited to just playing all-wheel drives. If you know how to tune your rear-wheel drive properly to where you don't lose control or understeer or mega oversteer, depending on how you have it set up, you can have a good time. You could actually be competitive with whichever vehicle you decide, to drive, and that's cool. And the customization on that game is insane, bro. It is redonkulous, the amount of customization that you have on it, which I love that. but it's not like Forza Horizon 4 was lacking on that either. It also had its amount. So I feel like all we got here was like a little bit of an incremental upgrade rather than like an entirely new game. And it's not like I wanted to like super change the formula, everything exactly, but they just didn't change. I don't feel like they changed enough. Like to me, it doesn't feel enough has happened. You still have the things that I hated about Forza Horizon 4, which let me ask you, why do I get so much points for anything that I do on that game? I keep getting rewarded. I hate that shit. I hate that. I open my car door, I get points. I hit a mailbox, I get points. I skid off the road, I get points. I almost hit another car, I get points. The game is constantly throwing at you points and money to where nothing that you get is valuable. Like it doesn't matter what car you get. It doesn't matter. You don't have any wish to get to that car of your dreams because you can literally get the car of your dreams after a couple of hours playthrough. That's it. Because you can, I don't know, you can go to the auction house and get it for, thankfully, still money, like money credit, like fake money, like game money, not real money.
Space bucks.
Space bucks, exactly. But because there's so many freaking concept cars being sold at dirt prices because there's so many of them, you can score like the best vehicles already on the get-go with the money that they give you from opening the game. And on top of that, I happen to have bought the premium edition because again, I am a fan of the series. I get the premium edition. Oh, you're VIP. Don't worry. This house is 1 million credits. You don't have to pay that because you're VIP. It doesn't cost you anything. It's like, well, shit. Gee, thanks. You just like completely got rid of any benefit of money in this game. Like you completely trivialize that section now. Like there's no problem getting money on that game. There's no problem getting progression. So much so that it makes the progression completely meaningless. You don't get excited about being a high level because you don't have to do much to get a high level. Yeah, you can see the numbers goes up, but what does it matter?
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything. Last thing I want to, and probably the most bewildered of them all. Can you explain to me if this game takes place in Mexico? Why the fuck everybody speak with an English accent? Everybody in the game, and I can show, and I can.
That's an easy answer.
You can look. Well, yeah, it's gotta be from what's the name of that series? Hot Rate, Top Gear or something like that. You're probably gonna bring some reference to Top Gear, and I'm gonna agree that yes, that's probably what it is. But the game takes place in Mexico. There's only 2 Mexicans that have heard of that game. All right, I'm not joking, man. I'm dead ass. There's only, I probably heard like a couple songs that may have Spanish in them.
Oh, wow, has Spanish music,
and yeah, like a couple, and but they're not really meant to. Like if they have Spanish, they're not really meant to have Spanish. It's like they just have Spanish, a word or two in Spanish, But it's not like they're singing like, mariachis music or like I don't know, reggaeton or whatever Latin music. It's not salsa. It's not nothing like that. It's still like it's like I'm still in England. I'm still in fucking England. It's just like this must be what English people that have never traveled to Mexico think that maybe Mexico is. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's so dumb. Anyway, I'm having a good time with it. I can't say that I'm disliking the game. It's time to give it a score because I feel like I haven't finished the campaign or anything like that. I don't think necessarily it's the type of game that you have to wait to see what happens in the game. You know, it's not that type of game. I think I played enough to say that it's whatever it throws at me, it's probably going to be exciting. Yes, it's probably going to have those showcase events that are going to, you know, are going to look cool. You know, also they have done a pretty good job with with the DLC and the seasons. The DLC in the past, there haven't been an expansion announced for this game just yet. Although you know they're coming with 2 because,
of course,
because that's what you do. But if I were to score it now, early enough, I feel like with the shit that I don't like, I think I can no longer justify putting a solid 4 on that. I'm gonna have to give it a 3.5.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. I was like, oh, he's probably. If I have to guess, it's gonna be a 3.5 because it's definitely better than just good. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly. It's okay. You have already shown how good you could be. And we already have graded, like when Forza Horizon 4 came out, I would have put that out of 4. When 3 came out, that shit was 5. Like that shit had 5 written all over it. Except I didn't like driving on the wrong side of the road. And neither did I like doing that on England, but that's fine. I still enjoy the game. But now that you have shown what you can do, like I know you have it in you could probably do better, and you really didn't. At least it doesn't look like you did that much. Like it still feels like you just gave me Forza 4.5, and you can say anything about, you know, Mexico being big and beautiful and having like volcanic areas and like having all these different biomes and shit. But if everything else is gonna look so empty, like that takes away, you know. And if the races are gonna be that level of, like, I don't want a complete simulation, but at the same time, I don't want you to trivialize my game for the sake of making it like super accessible to anyone and everyone, because, you know, some people can't drive, and it's like, well, shit, you know. Then at that point, they probably shouldn't be playing this type of game. You know? I hate to say it like that. You know, I hate to say it like that, but make better use of your, because you have a difficulty settings. Make better use of it. If you want to put it on easy and you want to pile through anything and everything, do so. But if I play on normal, if I hit a stone wall, even if it's just a 3 feet stone wall, I should have major damage on my car, especially if I hit it at 160 miles per hour. I should have major, or at the very least, if I don't have damage because it doesn't have, you know, collision damage, at least you should stop my car, you know, or severely slow it down. I shouldn't be able to pile through like I just ran over, a bunch of leaves, you know. So that's the score. That's the final score for Forza Horizon 5. I'm sorry if anybody's disappointed with it, but I'm not saying it's a bad game because it's not. I'm just saying that, hey, if you like Forza Horizon 4, then you're gonna like this one just as much. You're not gonna love it more. You're not gonna love it less. It's just gonna be just as much. So if you were getting tired of it, I don't think this one has it to where it'll get you super excited. I don't think this one's gonna give you a heart boner.
Oh, wow. All right.
There you go.
Well said, sir. Well said.
And that, my friends, is all I've been doing.
I am the Black Knight.
And we are back, sir. And it is now time for the Mouthfuls Games Radar.
Whoa! I didn't know that we were going to make Games Radar.
Yes, we have a couple of blips on the radar for this week. Upcoming.
I could use a couple blips. I think I'm done with Forza for a little while.
Well, there you go.
No. I'm not continue playing, but I need some action. You know.
Oh, well, this is a couple. Well, one is very action packed. The other one is probably a little bit more my speed when it comes to some craziness. But the first one is going to be XO1 coming to PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series X. Is console exclusive for Xbox. Coming on November 18th. They've showed it off a few times, and you should look it up if you're interested. XO is EXO space 101 ONE. And it looked very interesting, but it's definitely more of a abstract type of game. But they've shown it off many a time, so I feel they are Xbox. Is also very invested in it, as they should be, since it's obviously exclusive to their console. As far as
XO is exclusive to the Xbox. How many times you can say X?
I know. That's something. I feel like it was purposely named this. Just saying. And then, of course, the big game of next week, and that, of course, is going to be Battlefield 2042, coming up PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S on November 19th.
That's my jam. That's actually that game is out today for people that have already bought into like their special edition or whatever. Okay. No, not all pre-orders. I certainly did not pre-order because, like, as much as my interest is very high for this game, I remember that historically Battlefield games have always been jank on the first, the first few days after release, or the first few weeks after release. I will say, maybe a month even, and even though on the other ones I could say, well, at least while they patched the multiplayer,
being that way,
it wasn't as bad. Okay. Honestly, Battlefield 1 wasn't as bad on its multiplayer, but it was not. It was still a little janky. And like, for example, in my case, I was playing the single player portion while they fixed that. So by the time I went into the multiplayer, it was like, okay, cool. It should, like, it wasn't as bad, but it's already even better. Battlefield 4, however, was a fucking nightmare when it was released. It was memeable how bad that game was, and that game became,
and it was memeable.
Excellent, but it was memeable. Yes, yeah. It was horrible. And this one, for some reason, gave me the vibe that it was going to be also just as bad, and the fact that it doesn't have a single player campaign on it, like, held me up even more. Like, okay, I really should be careful with this one. There's no hurry, I'm not a hardcore, like, Battlefield. It's one of my preferred multiplayer games, even though I don't play a lot of multiplayer games, if any. But I do like Battlefield, but I'm not gonna miss anything by just missing the first month, for example, of it. I could grab this game later down the line, so it's not a big deal. And also, I just haven't been that super impressed with what I've seen, so far.
I have not at all. It's all multiplayer too, so I'm just like, I have zero.
Like, I was excited first time they announced it with the trailer and all that. Like, I was excited for what I was seeing, but it was because I was imagining it being in the context of what a Battlefield game, like, of what I've always remembered a Battlefield game being like. And seeing what this one has become, again, in the interest of making it more mainstream, which is what fucks up a lot of games always, they have kind of like dumbed down a lot of the things that made it special, to where now it's like, it doesn't matter what, like, there are no what do you call, classes anymore. Like, any class could grab any weapon and do, even if it doesn't make any sense, you could be anything and everything, and they have this these special classes they call specialists, which some of them are like almost too OP, like, oh, this person can actually put a tower. And by the way, that tower can also give you wall hack, like wall view, like you can watch people through walls. So not only you have another gun that can help you, but also you can see through wall to where the enemy is located. And some other specializations are kind of dumb for the type of place where they're at. And I also don't like, for the type of map that they're at, is what I meant to say. And I also don't like that it just seems to, let's throw more players at it for the sake of just putting more players on it. Like I believe he has 128 players on the map now. It's like, who cares at that point if it's that many? If half of them is just bots because you can't fill a lobby with enough players yet. I'm sure that later on you will, but for now it's like most of those lobbies are just filled with dumb AI bots. And also, like, I don't know, you have taken so much out of what made Battlefield so particularly unique and different from your typical Call of Duty or your typical Overwatch, if you want to play a fucking hero class game. Like, you're obviously going into that direction because I guess that's where the money's at. So same time, you're gonna EA is gonna EA. So yeah, I'm not super stoked about this one, but I'll grab it at some point. I'm sure I'll grab it.
I'm sure if it comes out with decent reviews, will probably help you make that decision.
Yeah, so far they haven't been super stellar.
So far, yeah. Early previews, yeah.
Early previews haven't been like super.
All right, guys. Let's go ahead and move on into our next segment, which is the useless news that you can use. And there have been some events this week. Not sure if you're aware of any of them, but I'll start with the first one here. And this is, of course, Disney Plus Day, because we need a day for Disney Plus.
Really?
If that's even, it's a thing. It's a thing now.
It's a thing? I guess it's a thing.
Yeah. I'm just going to roll through a lot of the news that was done because there's a lot of news and I'm just not going to stick on to all of them. But feel free, sir, to stop me if you want to discuss anything at all.
Stop me if you heard this.
First, of course, is the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Has a new preview, reveals a Darth Vader lightsaber battle. But there's no trailer, of course. How about that? And then, of course, they went through all the new Disney Plus day release. Meaning stuff that's released today on Disney Plus that you can watch. One of them is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So I will be watching that.
Really?
Yeah, it's available now as we speak on Disney Plus.
When are you going to watch that? Tomorrow?
Probably, yeah.
Let me know what you feel. How you feel about it. I'm curious to know.
I will. Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to it, believe it or not. I'm actually very looking forward to it. Not that I'm thinking it's going to be like an amazing thing, but I'm just excited to watch it. Yeah.
You'll have a good time if you temper your expectations.
Again, don't think it's going to be great. I don't know. I feel like I just want something, something I could just unplug my brain a little bit.
It's excited to be. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if it's the Pavlovian effect already, but it's exciting seeing that, to me now at least, to see that Marvel logo come in and dun 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 dun.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm the same way. Yeah. Jungle Cruise also available on Disney Plus. Something else I may watch.
Jungle Cruise. I thought that was available already.
Not on Disney Plus, not yet.
Yeah. My wife saw that.
Did you guys like it?
I saw her watching. No, I said my wife watched it.
She did. Okay. Did she like it?
She probably I think she was okay with it.
Okay. Yeah. And then, of course, the unforeseen and unrequested sequel to the Home Alone series, Home Sweet Home Alone, also available on Disney Plus, and many more. For the record, I'm just highlighting those three and moving on. Under the Helmet, the legacy of Boba Fett tells the story of the Galaxy's most famous bounty hunter. And of course, they showed off some more information on that. Moon Knight.
Finally, I can't wait. I've been dying to know.
I say zero, but the reality is I'm probably going to at least try the first episode. You know what I mean? But
you might as well.
It is what it is.
But to tell you that I haven't even started to watch The Mandalorian. Where my interest level lies.
But that's honestly for now. For me, it's Star Wars as just, you know, the last thing I got excited about was Star Wars Visions, and that was because they gave the IP to a bunch of different anime studios and said, do whatever you want. You know what I mean? And I was like, I want to see what they had to say. You know what I mean? And a lot of what they did was pretty cool because it was just different. You know what I mean? They decided to make something different. So anyway, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and Miss Marvel all got some first looks. These are all series coming to the channel as well. Spider-Man, Agatha from WandaVision, and Marvel Zombies get new MCU series. Spider-Man Freshman Year is an animated series. Agatha House of Harkness is a new series that will star Catherine Hahn from WandaVision, if you remember her. And Marvel Zombies is an animated series that reimagines the Marvel Universe as the new generation of heroes battle the ever-spreading zombies.
How original!
I tell you.
Telling you, man. Yeah. Even Disney's like running out of fuel too.
They really are.
Good idea.
Very low on new things.
Yeah, that Disney creativity is like starting to run a little thin. It's like I imagine the executives being like, I don't know if it was such a great idea to do a whole Disney Plus network.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Or Disney Plus subscription service because they obviously have this.
Anyway, so we have Secret Invasion MCU, a series offers a first glimpse of a patchless Nick Fury. Will also be coming to Disney Plus. I'm going to skip on here because there's a lot, so I'm not really going to run through all of these. X-Men the 97 series, or it's called X-Men 97, is an all new original series arriving in 2023. Why is it called X-Men 97? Because it's basically a continuation of the 1990s X-Men animated series that used to play on Fox that I used to watch and love, for the record. And it has been memed to death. I'm sure you see the Wolverine laying down, holding a picture. That's from that particular series. So if you're interested in that, that's coming up. Prey, a Predator prequel, is coming to Hulu in 2022.
I saw the poster of that, actually.
Yes. A new Predator prequel movie called Prey is on its way from director Dan Trachtenberg, which I do respect Dan Trachtenberg, for the record, and will release on Hulu, in Hulu in summer 2022. This film is set 300 years ago and will star indigenous actor Amber Midthunder as Naru. Set in the Comanche Nation. So anyway, it gives kind of a little bit of the plot. But basically, old Earth meeting predators is most likely what it is.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
Just anything they can do, bro. They just. I'm telling you right now. I am like rolling through stuff. I just throw names here. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers will debut in 2022. Hocus Pocus 2 because somebody asked for that. A live action Pinocchio's is coming, of course. Ice Age.
Make sure that he's alive.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Another Cheaper by the Dozen reboot. Oh dear Lord.
By the dozen.
Yeah, we're this is
scraping the blood of the barrel.
Scraping. Oh my god. This is really bad. All right, and I'm done, guys. I'm done because I can't.
Fantasia 2.
Yeah, I can't anymore with that. Obviously, I really just stuck to the ones that most of you, but by all means, take a look at the announcements. There's a lot there, and to be honest, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are interested in Disney because it's such a big. They're a big conglomerate for a reason. So,
also, Fantasia 2 is not one of them. I just made that up. Or maybe I was going to say I might have actually hit it. I don't know. It's possible. It's possible. This week there hasn't been hasn't been big on news, or I was too dying in bed to notice them. But you notice that there's not a lot when I talk about PR shit.
Oh, boy.
Forza Horizon 5's largest launch of any Microsoft game. Concurrent players triple the peak of Forza Horizon 4. This is according to Eurogamer. Forza Horizon 5 is off to a great start, according to new stats released by Microsoft, which we know they only release stats when it's favorable.
When it's good, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Playground Studios' excellent racer already has 4.5 million players across PC, console, and cloud devices. Xbox boss Phil Spencer revealed via Twitter. This means Forza Horizon 5 has enjoyed the biggest launch yet of any Xbox Game Studios title. And that is concurrent player peak is triple that of Forza Horizon 4. Of course, many of those players will be playing the game via Xbox Game Pass, where it launched day and date alongside retail copies. But a sizable portion of players, over 1 million people, I am one of them, actually began playing the game last Friday. Early access was granted to those who bought a premium edition and have picked up the $50 premium add-on bundle for Game Pass subscribers. Because if you're a Game Pass subscriber, you get to play the game. But if you wanted to play a day, on early and get like all the shit that comes up with the premium, well, they let you spend $50 for the DLC, and that will bump you automatically to premium.
Wow.
Which I could have done, being that I pay for fucking Game Pass, but no, I didn't do that. Anyway, Playground. So technically, that game officially released on Tuesday, and today's Friday. I'm already tired of playing. Playground Games deliver yet another gorgeous and enveloping pocket holiday, smartly restructured but reassuringly unchanged. God damn it! Oli wrote Eurogamer in Forza Horizon 5 review. Oh, of course, it had to be Eurogamer who will say that. They can't say it's a good game. They can't talk like that.
No, that's too simple.
Because it's fucking Eurogamer. Yeah, that's too simplistic. Exactly. That's so plebes like us. The quote continues. It's a dependable joy. Jesus Christ. Eurogamer. God damn you. You know what? I'm done.
And with that,
remind me to not quote Eurogamer ever
again.
Mind you, I love them guys, but I don't like the way they express themselves. It's too English, which I just butcher with my shitty Spanish accent. It's just, I'm just butchering the beauty of it.
I think you were nailing it. Sir. You were nailing it. For the most part.
There you go. Thanks.
Thunderful World. Yes, that is a digital event for the Swedish developer publisher, which aired on November 10th. Brought a bunch of game announcements. Of course, these are indie games for the most part. And they were all presented by Mark Hamill. What? Yes, Mark Hamill was the presenter on this particular digital event. So I'm just gonna go through some of the major stuff, because some of the other stuff you may not even recognize by name. First and foremost, a SteamWorld Headhunter is the next installment in the cult SteamWorld series, and the first to move from 2D to 3D. Headhunter will be a stylized and colorful third-person co-op action adventure. While the announcement didn't reveal any gameplay or release date or platforms, a teaser trailer did give some hints as to what it would be about. Then they showed off a game that is an Xbox console exclusive, but also coming to PC, coming on December 16, called The Gunk. Will also launch on Xbox Game Pass as well. And Wavetail, this is a surprise. The only reason I'm bringing this one up, although the game did look pretty good, but a reason I wanted to mention it is because it is a Google Stadia exclusive.
What?
It is literally available right now on Google Stadia, and PC and console will not release until 2022.
What?
Yeah, exactly what I said.
They're only exclusive title. It's a time exclusive.
Yeah,
Boo.
it is. Yeah. And this is created, of course, by Thunderful Games. Anyway, moving on.
Wow.
From there, there's a bunch of stuff you guys probably never heard of. There was a pretty cool one, Motorbike Metroidvania.
What?
Called
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, called Leica Through the Blood, Aged Through the Blood, a 2D Metroidvania set entirely on the back of a motorbike. Leica sees you fighting across a post-apocalyptic desert world. This is 2D, by the way. And it's coming to PC and console in 2022. Super Meat Boy Forever coming to mobile for anybody who's interested in that. We finally got a release date for White Shadows, which I have been waiting for a while. This is a black and white cinematic puzzle platformer, very similar to Inside and that type of thing. Coming to PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, not prior consoles, FYI, on December 7th. So only for next gen. How about that?
They don't have the power.
I guess not. Fire Girl, which has a 2.5D roguelike platformer, comes to PC on December 14th, and with console will follow in 2022. And that's a few other things, but for the most part, if you're interested, go check out the show. But those are the highlights of the show. Again, of course, Mark Hamill was in it, being his silly Mark Hamill self.
He's silly, lovable Mark Hamill self.
Oh, lovable, sure, yeah.
You remember that? I don't remember when it showed, but you mentioned black and white, and for some reason, my mind went back to that samurai black and white game that was shown at one of the events. Which one was that, and what platform was it? Was that on PlayStation?
If I'm mistaken, that was a Devolver joint. So let me think.
That's a Devolver. Yeah, I forgot the name of.
I think it's coming to all platforms, if I remember.
Okay,
but
it looked amazing. It was like the thing that you know. Like, of all the games that they showed,
Trek
was like
Yomi.
Yes, there you go.
And it's coming to Series XS, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Windows. Yeah, it's going.
That's not out yet.
No, the initial release date is just right now, 2022.
2022. Okay, could be any time. 2022. All right. Well, GTA Trilogy.
Oh.
It was released already, but you probably can't buy it on PC right now because it was pulled from sales on PC as the Rockstar Games launcher goes down.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, it's what the hell? PC players haven't been able to play their new game for 15 hours and counting. And this was the last report was updated November 12th at 5:55 a.m. It is 11:19 p.m. So there's not an update that it has been fixed yet. Anyway, Rockstar has pulled Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy, the Definitive Edition from sales on PC, seemingly due to an ongoing issue with its Rockstar Games launcher service that rendered it unplayable. Because we fucking needed a Rockstar game launcher, God knows why.
PC, bro.
PC, yes, fucking hell. Yeah, and I will agree. Fucking PC, that shit doesn't happen on consoles. Anyway, at time of writing, the PC version of the remastered GTA Trilogy is not available to buy on Rockstar's website. Those who did buy the game on PC are unable to play it, as the Rockstar game launcher, which is required to play the collection, has been offline for around 15 hours and counting. Just a few hours after the release of the collection, Rockstar support Twitter account explained services for the Rockstar game launcher and supported title are temporarily offline for maintenance. Maintenance. Great timing for maintenance. Wink, wink. Services will return as soon as maintenance is completed. More than 15 hours ago, by the way. This means that GTA Trilogy, as well as games like GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2, cannot be played on PC right now. Let me reiterate that. Games that you bought on PC to play on PC cannot be played right now because of a fucking store wall, whatever launcher shit you want to call it. All right, PC gamers? All right? Let that sink in.
Good to be a PC gamer.
Let's that sink in. You know. Hey, it's Rockstar. Nobody. If this was like fucking EA or Activision, like there would have been like riots have already been happening. But no.
Wow.
14 hours later, the account provided an update saying, "We thank you for your patience and understanding as we continue to work on restoring services for the Rockstar game launcher and supported titles. It's not clear what caused the need for maintenance." They don't put that on quotes, but I'm going to put it on quotes myself. Or how long that maintenance will take. And Rockstar hasn't formally confirmed that the game has been pulled from sale because of the downtime. We have contacted Rockstar for comment, and that was IGN, by the way. As you might expect, the response has not been good, with players left upset, you will think, that their new collection of single player games are rendered unplayable because of an issue with a separate program.
That is, that's PC gaming, bro. I every time, it's funny. It's this is amazing to me because every time I go, I think it'll be a good. I mean, yes, I know, I get it. I know this is not a very good time to get a video card. I get it. I'm just saying.
No.
Every so often, I go, I think it's time. I think it's time. I don't need any of the top of the line, whatever, with glowing lights and and whatever and but maybe I think it's time to really, even though I have no freaking clue where I'm going to put it, but it may be time. And then things like this happen. I'm going, you know what? Yeah, I'm all right waiting. I'm all right just not doing it right now. I can't. I have zero. You know me, right? You know me to be, for the most part, a relaxed dude.
Yeah.
When things don't work, and you've seen it with me on just my laptop. This poor laptop has had the threat of being thrown across the room many a time. I have not even lifted it in anger, but the threat has been there. And it's just because I just needed to work. I just needed to work. That's it. This is what I know I'm not alone in this. This is what makes console gaming great, is that 99.9% of the time it just works. I don't have to adjust anything. I don't have to make sure I have the right update or the right driver install or make sure I have to check specifications. No. It just works. You don't have to worry about it. And imagine had I just said, I'll get the GTA trilogy. Probably won't play it, but I'll get it, whatever. And then shit like this happens. It's like, no, man. No, I'm don't get me wrong. I'm not in any way trying to take away the benefit, because there are plentiful benefits of PC gaming. Plentiful. There's just no doubt about that. But yeah. When stuff like this happens, it's like, oh my god, I can't, and I feel bad for those who do. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Get it on an Xbox One or on PlayStation 5.
I tell you what I think it is, because you're right about the things and the different tunings and all the maintenance of PC gaming are higher. The virtues and the benefits, yes, they speak for themselves. We know that, but it's also there is a cost involved in more than just money. And I will wholeheartedly agree 100% on that, especially now, during the shortage of like video cards and everything. This shit, however, shouldn't be one of them. This bullshit is a greedy ass company with absolutely alpha zero reason to put 3 single player games into a fucking launcher just so that they can get marketing on you and telemetry and bullshit like that, just so that they can check everything you do so they can better market, because that's all the fucking launchers are doing. When they're not trying to sell you DLC and shit on single player games. Like, you don't need an internet connection for a single player game, period. Whoever tells you otherwise is lying to you. If there's an online component on a single player game, is because it should need that component for the game to work. GTA 1 or GT or Grand Theft Auto, Grand Theft Auto Vice City and or fucking hell, I don't even know anymore. I'm so angry. Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So the 3 threes. Yeah. They were released on PlayStation 2. There was no need for servers to be involved in that transaction. All right. There should not be any reason. Like, yes, let me tell you, because even if this was working, that release right now is a piece of garbage, and it's a piece of garbage on anything you play it. It doesn't matter, because if you look at it, they have been already so many memeable reports of the of bugs, the graphics not aligning and all crapping out, you falling through the world.
Oh God, really?
Yes. If you look at it, the only reason there's no more of those is because half of the population that would have wanted to play this aren't playing right now because they can't. Yeah. And maybe it was done on purpose. Who knows? Maybe they couldn't unplug because Sony be like, no. And Microsoft be like, But on PC, they're like, oh, well, we can do it because nobody can control us on PC. Plug. That way we'll have time to fix all the ridiculous bugs and bullshit that those games have already. And not only that, let alone, let's not mention the fact that they took away the option to buy the original, the original titles on all the game stores. You can buy the original, like the digital version. Like if you wanted to get Grand Theft Auto 3 on PC or something like that, you can't buy them. Yeah, they're gone now.
This is the only way of getting
this is the only
the George Lucasing of
exactly, and it's so bad. So yeah, I mean, big fat fuck you, Rockstar. Like, you haven't been a Rockstar in a long while, and I get it. You get your compliments and your praises with fucking horseball simulation, whatever it was called.
That game was pretty amazing. I'm not gonna lie. But,
Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, I get that. Like, I totally get that. But I mean, come on, how do you fuck up this badly on this one? And I'm not even talking about the servers being down at this point. I'm talking about the game being so buggy. It's ridiculous.
My last piece, guys. Game Awards founder and host Jeff Keighley has teased plans for this year's show, including its biggest lineup yet of world premieres and announcements.
Ooh, I'm excited. Okay, I was worried how that sentence was gonna go, if it was gonna end my night, because
No. Well, last year's show
that man
was
is a saint.
what? Yeah, he is. While last year's show was not filmed in front of a live audience due to COVID pandemic, of course, the Game Awards 2021 will be an in-person event at the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles on December 9th. The 8th edition of the annual event will be a major production featuring an on-stage orchestra, celebrity guests, the actual awards, of course, and a host of game reveals. Quote, you know, it's great to have celebrities. It's great to have music, but I think focusing on the games is important, especially this year. There'll be a lot of content for 2022 and 2023 that will be showing us our kind. The heck will be showing us our kind of biggest lineup yet.
Eurogamer, is that you?
I don't know. And this is quoting him apparently. So I don't know if poor Jeff Keighley was having an off day, or if this
Or a
writer.
feature.
Yeah, exactly. Biggest lineup yet of world premiere and announcement. What we really learned last year was at the end of the day is really the games and the new trailers that drive the show. End quote. Keeley expects 40 to 50 games to be on show in one form or another, and new titles being announced to number in the double digits. Quote, I still feel that we only kind of sort of touch on the surface of what's possible on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. So I think you'll see some stuff in the show that is truly pretty stunning. We'll see footage of games that will remind people that the best of the industry is still to come. End quote. The Game Awards expanded beyond Los Angeles for the first time last year, with the 2020 edition streamed in studios in both London and Tokyo, in addition to the California location. It included a dozen of brand new, and this is all last year. The star-studded show featured appearances from Keanu Reeves, Christopher Nolan, Gal Gadot, Tom Holland, Brie Larson, John David Washington, Reggie Fils-Aimé, Nolan North, Troy Baker, and more. New game announcements at the event included Perfect Dark. This is all about last year, but anyway. So yeah, man, I am excited. I think December 9th
that's around the corner.
Yeah, it's less than a month away.
Yes.
So I am excited for it, and that is probably one of the few things left in the year to as far as gaming to look forward to.
Is Sony not having their Christmas event?
No,
their holiday.
If they are, they haven't announced it.
Oh,
I mean, the reality is here, Sony does work with Keighley and the Game Awards, so chances are it'll just whatever it is will just be shown there. But they haven't done what you talking about, like a PlayStation Experience. They haven't done that shit in forever now.
Right? 2 years now?
More than that. Let me see.
More
what
than
Damn. Was the last PlayStation Experience?
The last PlayStation
2016, bro. 2017.
Oh damn! We can forget about those. Those I mean, those
Long
don't happen
gone,
anymore.
man. Long gone.
All right. Well, that's Sony is done with E3s and E4s and Christmas E3s
and experiences. Yep.
And experiences, exactly. And I was trying to look for a cool segue, but I wasn't gonna find any, so I'm just gonna throw it there. 2 new Xbox exclusive reportedly leaked, including a single-player Southern Gothic adventure. Details have seemingly been leaked out about 2 new Xbox exclusives from Compulsion Games, makers of We Happy Few, and Obsidian Entertainment of The Outer Worlds. The former, which is described as a single-player Southern Gothic adventure. According to Windows Central, Compulsion's first game with Microsoft is codenamed Midnight. It is reportedly a third-person game set in a dark and fantastical world. The protagonist seeing there's some art, which obviously you guys can't see it, but if you guys want to check out, this comes from IGN. and it says that the protagonist seen on the IGN screenshots or the Windows Central screenshots, I guess, is in the middle section of the concept art. It's a dark-skinned woman with braided hair. The picture on the right, well, this is actually describing the picture, so I'm going to skip that. Midnight apparently draws inspiration from America's Deep South and is a coming-of-age story. It is also solely a single-player game. It apparently won't be ready for an official reveal launch until the next few years, however. So I guess we're not going to see that in December. Last month, We Happy Few developer mentioned that it was working on a new third-person story-driven title, and Midnight certainly fits the bill. The second game comes from Obsidian Entertainment, codename Pentiment. Yeah, okay. A 12 plus person team is developing this game and is led by Josh Sawyer, who previously worked on Fallout New Vegas and Pillars of Eternity. GamesBeat Jeff Grubb said that Pentiment draws inspiration from games like Disco Elysium and will be a narrative RPG rather than a combat-focused one. The game is reportedly a murder mystery set in the 16th century in which players will be able to investigate and accuse other characters in the game. However, these accusations have consequences. If you're wrong, then a snowball effect occurs. The game will slowly unfold into a full-blown conspiracy. The team is also reportedly experimenting with several different gameplay mechanics, but some might not make it into the final product. Grubb says Pentiment is aiming for a 2022 launch. If correct, it means Obsidian is very busy right now. So the studio's also working on Avowed and The Outer Worlds 2. So cranking out those exclusives, I guess, because I sure need them.
Yeah, they're definitely short on them for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else, sir?
Well, YouTube is no longer going to have the thumbs down counter.
I saw that.
Yes,
that is just
some kind of bullshit. Whatever, I
also have Valve has delayed Steam Deck until next year.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Steam Deck was delayed.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that brings us to the end of this segment, and so stay tuned. We're going to be right back with our hot topic. No more screwing up because honestly, and you know what? To be fair, I have heard other podcasts and they've mentioned that at the beginning where it's like we thought we were recording or something happened with the recording. Another one I was listening to, it's like, we are repeating what we're saying because we had already said this, but apparently something happened. And I'm like, okay. All right, it happens to the best of them. You know what I mean? It is what it is, right?
Hey,
I don't feel so bad.
Remember when we recorded 4 to 5 minutes of our podcast before we realized that we were recording?
That's a different part, and that's on me. We went way long on that because it was like they probably went a good 10, 15 minutes. You're like, oh fuck, we gotta do this over again. 40 minutes, dude. I almost quit right there. I'm done. I can't redo that. And I think we even I think it was even heard in our voices. It's just like the annoyance of having to redo this thing.
It was no longer natural. The thoughts were no longer natural. It was like we were revisiting already what we had spoken. Yes.
Yeah. So from now on, I make it a conscious effort to constantly go back to Zencastr just to take a peek, make sure it's still moving.
Double tap.
Exactly. Exactly. And we're back, guys, and it is, again, as always, time for our Hot Topic of the Week.
Hot
Topic again, guys, is open world games are dead.
What is that? open world games. I thought we were abandoned that with the ColecoVision. What are you talking about?
Oh my God, ColecoVision! You're going back, my friend.
Oh wait, that was actually like another reality from another multiverse. Never mind. ColecoVision, you know ColecoVision, the most famous console ever made, the only console that survived the console war. the what do you call the game crash of 2021.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have nothing on it.
Nothing to go with that.
Nothing
to go. Nothing to follow up that with.
Too high concept. Let me bring it back to reality. So anyway,
yeah. So open world games. Dead again. Yeah. So no, for real. I stumbled upon this Yahtzee of Escapists. He's been out there for probably decades at this point, making content and talking about reviewing video games and talking about video games. And he made an interesting video literally saying the open world is dead. And then he apologizes as if he's alerting us of something we didn't know. And I feel bad that I'm telling you. And then we watched it, and I wanted to share with Dream Twister, and so we just watched it again together. It's only an 8-minute video, but it was an interesting point because, as you and I were talking about, our initial reaction is, what the hell are you talking about? How can open world be dead if every game is coming out as open world? You know what I mean? And it's like, and in there lies the issue, and of course the angle that he mentions in the in his video, and that is, of course, that it's everything is going to that point, and how really good are some of these games? I would argue that the majority of them are mediocre at best. I feel like you have Far Cry 6. Have you even gone back to it?
I did. I tried, and I was like, I've played this game before, because that's the problem, right? You got all these open world games coming out, and then on top of that, you have the sequels to said games, and when you're creating a massive open world game, you only have so much that you can do or make or change. It's the problem that I was telling you about with the Forza Horizons series. At some point, there's not much you could do to change the formula, because you're not going to have the time to actually do so.
Correct, because you have to build this entire open world.
Yeah, you're not going to build another. It's going to feel like you are, but at the same time, you're using the exact same engine. You're reusing a lot of the assets that you already have. The technology is going to be a little bit improved, but not that much to where it's just going to feel revolutionary. Like, I play Far Cry 6, and I sit down and, let's say, I load Far Cry 5, and like the guns are going to feel the same. The gunplay is going to feel exactly the same. Just like playing Forza Horizon feels the same when I'm playing 4 and 5.
And I would argue this has been happening for a little bit, right? We had going back to Far Cry 3, right? I was amazed. I think we were all amazed. Far Cry 3 was amazing. I never played New Vegas, but you have, and many have, and they have praised it. And then you get the newest one, oh my God, Fallout 4.
Fallout 4,
you know what I mean? And suddenly you're expecting whatever, and it's really more of the same. You know what I mean? Along with all the jank and bugs, it's just all the same, So, and I agree. You can look at part 3, where a lot of areas you were able to open up and go and explore, but not that many. You ran into a lot of locked doors. In part 4, they expanded that. They were pretty much most of the places you can go. You can open up a door and go in and take a look what's going on inside. And so it's all been done. But at the same time, what is missing from a lot of these games, and I say a lot of them because not all of them, and I'll address the outliers or the best examples of that. But what is missing is that very clear, defined narrative or story, or just plot. You know what I mean? Because if you have an open world, unless you're Just Cause, because do you really care about the plot in Just Cause? No, you love playing around with this sandbox and blowing shit up and using jumping off a plane to use your parachute to land on something. And, you know what I mean? It's like a lot of craziness is going on there. Yes, there's a story, but that's not why you're playing that game.
No, you're playing that game for the sandbox aspect of it.
For all the
Just
sandbox
have fun with it. Yeah,
and so
which can be said a lot about a lot of open world games too.
True, but a lot of them have this focus where they want to tell you this story. And Far Cry 6, I was down to get Far Cry 6. And the moment I hear it's the same, now and I'm still going to get it. I'm going to probably do it. This is a Black Friday joint right here with whatever sale they have available for it. But it was again the same issue. You know what I mean? I think of another game that I played that the reason I got it because it came on PlayStation Plus, I believe is how I was able to play it. Mafia 3, when it first came out, first trailers for it, those trailers were amazing, bro. Amazing. I was just like, oh my God, this is an awesome plot. You play as a black protagonist, which you don't really get to do a lot in games, by the way. He's coming home from the war. Suddenly, the area is not being where he's at is not what he expected it to be, and now he's in the middle of fighting other mafias and creating his own at the same time. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's just freaking. But it's almost he's doing it because it's almost out of necessity. Because of what's going on. Because if I don't do this, then how do I get above it? Because I'm surrounded by it. So it was a great plot, but it was in a freaking open world game, and unfortunately, you had a lot of just running from one area, and that open world dude was big, bro. I don't know if you played it. I don't know if you played it. No, it was a big city, so it's like you spend so much time just going from one location to the other that and what do you have along the way? A bunch of little stuff that can take your attention away, and it just suddenly that narrative that was so fascinating got lost to me, and I couldn't even finish it. I played a good, probably, if I recall, maybe about a good 10 hours, 10, 12 hours. But yeah, and I think that's that. I think the thesis of his video, Yahtzee, is that narrative that everybody loves, because I think we all enjoy a good narrative in a game, unless it's just some Super Mario Brothers game, gets lost the bigger the world gets. Again, there are outliers. A perfect example would be Witcher 3. Another good example would be Red Dead Redemption Part 2, and even Part 1, if you want to even argue that one.
Yeah, Part 1 was,
but I would easily say Part 2 is it's got a really ridiculous story, and even if you beeline the story, because you can, there's no experience or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's like that's not the type of game it is, so you can just go through it one straight. If you do that, you have probably one of the best stories ever told, bro. I'm telling you right now, it's really.
I'm gonna invite you to say exactly those words in that exact same order, but replace the words Red Dead Redemption 2 with GTA 5 single player, and it's the exact same feeling.
Okay, all right. Well, there you go. The perfect.
Honestly, it is, because it and actually it brings up an interesting point, because you have super mega zero desire to reattend GTA 5, and I commend you for even trying it, because I thought at least if he sees it, he will understand what I'm talking about when I talk about the story and all that. But you did it for a little bit, and you were like, no, it's not catching, and I was like, well, then forget it. This experiment failed. But yet the exact same formula is used on Red Dead Redemption, and you were hooked on that shit. Except the Red Dead Redemption, of course, had the prettier graphics because it's newer, but it's still a ridiculous open world where you don't necessarily have to beeline it. You could, but you don't have to. But it's the same thing with GTA. So, like, I never understood.
I think what got in the way in GTA 5 was some of the open world aspects, and the fact that, honestly, it was a particular mission It was a
I
driving
just think
mission.
that you don't like cities. I think you just don't like urban.
It could be. I mean, that
Urban
does not
and-
bode well for whenever Cyberpunk 2077 finally gets fixed. But
yes.
yeah, it was a mission where it was a car mission. I think I was a passenger, so I had to shoot people as they were driving by. The controls were not great, and I had to redo it several times. And it's just like, that's what completely just derailed me from that particular. And that was a story mission. It's not like it was a side mission. It's like I to progress, I need to do this, and I'm not having fun doing it. So,
Right.
but yeah, you have unfortunately that particular aspect of it, but that's not anything there. That you can still stick up for that as being one of your examples of saying, yeah, this is an open world.
Oh, without a doubt, that will be like the magnus opus of open world storytelling. Will still to this day, and I play The Witcher. I play The Witcher, and I'm not gonna take anything away from The Witcher because The Witcher was amazing. But as far as stories that had me like that kept me like wanting to know what happened all the way to the end, especially when at the end of it, it was kind of like my choice to see how it ends up. Obviously, it's always in The Witcher and other games like that. It's my definitely one of the best, and Rockstars are very good at the storytelling aspect of it, so we gotta give them credit on that. So yeah, with you have those examples of games that have achieved that level of balance of, well, you have an open world aspect to it, but you still can deliver a cohesive story. Horizon Zero Dawn, I will make it another example where, hey, you had a very good story there going, and you wanted to know what was next. And yeah, you had the aspects of the open worldness where, like, if you wanted, you could capture or rescue this this area,
Village?
this village, this outpost. Basically, it's like free up the outpost and stuff like that. But the problem that I see with open world games and is that everybody equates AAA with open world with AAA-ness, and everybody striving to be a AAA game because they want to have that title so they feel like they can compete and they can sell
they're in the AAA
copies.
Yeah, they're in the AAA realm as soon as they're able to do an open world.
Exactly. So it's like a cheap entry, and not every game bodes well to have an open world game. And I will argue that some genres ruin will be kind of a harsh word, but certain of bringing them to open world from what they were originally certainly did not help them. Like, I wouldn't consider the Batmans that came after Batman Arkham Asylum to be better versions of the Batman Arkham Asylum series. They were trying something different. Like, yes, I could commend it, but if your different thing is just, let's make the world larger, that's not necessarily compelling, because what you're doing now is you're making me travel more. Unless you're travel, to get to the next area, you're making me travel. Unless you have a fun way of interesting way of traveling. This is why I hate horses in video games, because they're used for that purpose. It's just, this is the thing that is going to take you across the, friggin' spending minutes while the actual place loads, I guess, or whatever. It's just going to be, you'll be sitting down, riding to some scenery, looking at a horse's ass. And I don't want to do that. In Spider-Man, it was better handled, because a game like Spider-Man, even being an open world game, at least it was fun, because that swinging thing was fantastic. B, it's a Spider-Man game. That's kind of his thing, flying through the or swinging through the city. Exactly. I would kind of expect that game. to be open world. You know what game does not need to be open world? Fucking Elden Rings. Yes, I said it. I
agree,
said
sir.
it.
I agree.
Sorry,
Yeah, I
guys.
agree.
I know you. A couple of you had a heart attack, but now you're having a triple heart attack by hearing Magda says, "I agree."
Yeah,
But
I agree. That was the
that's
first thing
not.
that I think for all. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that was the first thing that I think when we heard that, we were taken aback by it. It was like, why are we going
Mhm.
open world? Oh, okay.
Yes, yes, just having a. I mean, I understand. There's some worlds that you want to just get lost in, and they're beautiful, but there are specific games for that, I feel, and some games don't need it. And I never thought of a Dark Souls game and thought, well, gee, if they only made this world like even larger. Because in Dark Souls, or the Soul series, or the Soul types games, even in general,
yeah.
It was already enough to spend time being very meticulous and careful going around the corner, expecting that, be trying to be prepared for the next thing that will jump at you. You know what I don't want to do? Spend 5 minutes going from one city to another, or to another car, looking at a spectral horse's ass, and just getting stuff pulled around. Sure, you get danger from anywhere. It's like, but that's different. That's no longer like a controlled environment. That's just like the chaotic nature of having this openness. Now it's gonna make the game probably feel more tedious than what it should have been. Having an open world doesn't automatically makes your game better.
No, and it can, and there are pitfalls that can easily make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And your standard pitfalls. You can have. I mean, look at. This is a perfect example of one that does not need to be open world. And in fairness, the open world is significantly smaller than most open worlds. But No More Heroes.
No More Heroes. I didn't know that was open world.
It has an open world map, and the map is it's a small city, whatever. I don't know about the most recent one because that one just came out. I do know it has an open world. I do know that it's an empty open world, but then again, all of them have been empty because that's the whole deal. It's like, now you got to program all these little things in here. Who can take away from the from basically memory that can be used to make something that makes that further pushes the game, the story, or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
That game should never have been open world, and I don't know why he still decided to make it open world, because that's one of the most immediate knocks against the game. It's like this, and you still got to do the stupid menial jobs just to go to fight the next person. It's just like, this is. But the thing is, like, why do I have to cross to one side, from one end of the city to the other, to do this menial job? I should just be able to do it and zip there and do it and zip back.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need that. That's an example right there of one that just never did. And to date, I still don't understand why he chose to do that. But some of the pitfalls of an open world are, first off, optimization, right? Because you got to be able to optimize that. I mean, if looking back at the early or earlier Assassin's Creeds, we made fun of it a long time because of all the weird bugs that it was having. It was because they were making these big, massive worlds, and they just take longer and to optimize. But we got to release it. We got to release it now. Is it at least running? Yep. Oh, if it's running, then we're just gonna release it now. And of course, we had to tar and feather them, and they've gotten better at it. But
now that's what they are. They're except for the gas version that they're working on, the game of service one. That's what Assassin's Creed have become the last 2 iterations, at least. Odyssey and Valhalla.
Ubisoft game has become.
Every Ubisoft game it is that, and I'm I tell you, even though I want to say, hey, at least in a few games, for example, like like Odyssey and Valhalla, those were beautiful games to explore and to walk and all that. Like, I get that, but you can only do so much exploring and tourism before you actually want to get to the next thing. And
exactly.
and Odyssey was ridiculous. Like, the amount of things to do. That's another thing. Just having content for content's sake, and icons on the map just for having shit to do. That's detrimental also, because that's just too much shit, to do, where it's too much content that you are spending you're spending time making for a lot of people that are not even going to experience it. And meanwhile, you could have used that time on just getting fewer missions, but there were actually a lot more interesting experiences, rather than just have a bunch of missions that you could tell, they could be, they were made with like a mission maker, almost like a freaking, like, well, if the character gets angry, make him do this pose, and if the angry, and yes, I know that's mostly how games are made or whatever, but I'm saying, like, this mission seems to be like just mass produced instead of making interesting narrative, that is actually that gets you interesting on going to the next area of the game to find out what's going on, rather than just give me a random side quest that has to do with some nonsense that it doesn't affect the story in any way whatsoever. But you know what it does? It gets the player stuck in the game. In the game, when I say stuck, I don't mean like stuck in a puzzle or something. I mean, it keeps them engaged playing their game, which ultimately is what all these fucking companies want us to do, because the more time we're spending playing a game, the more we're talking about it, and the more we talk about it, the more we're attracting other people to try it or whatnot. So it's also almost becomes like this fight that the developers have for us to keep us as much hours as possible in their controlled environment, in their world. And if the game has some sort of like games as service element, forget about it. Now you're screwed, because they're definitely gonna dangle the carrot on the stick for you in any way, shape, or any way possible that they can come up with. They're gonna make sure that, hey, I heard you like Destiny 2. We're gonna keep you playing Destiny 2 forever and ever and ever. That's gonna be the only game you're gonna play. Hi, Ramiro.
It works.
It works, exactly. And I'm not saying he's a bad person for liking that game, because obviously you like whatever you like. If you like Destiny, like, it's a good game. I'm not saying, I'm just proving a point of they're gonna do whatever it takes to keep you playing that particular game at the expense of you enjoying maybe other type of games, maybe smaller titles.
This is what keeps pulling me back, mostly to indie games, and it's just because they tend to be way more focused. I was playing an example of an open world that he says that does, and it's not really open world, but it's more of like a sandbox or something like that. But it is the Outer Wilds. I started playing that, and I can feel the hooks getting in me, because they made
the Outer Wilds is gonna, that game's gonna fuck you. You will get hooked on that.
Yeah. So I stopped. I was like, oh, I'm gonna come back to it, and I still haven't downloaded. I'm gonna come back to it. I'm gonna come back to it, whatever. And I gotta have a nice little lull to just sit there and savor this. But it is definitely a different type of open world experience.
Yeah.
Open worlds experience, actually. And so it can be done correctly, but that's the reason why I like indie games, because they tend to be more focused. And again, just like Yahtzee, I think you and I can agree that we are, you and I, when it comes to gaming narrative, gameplay is king for sure, but a great narrative can make me overlook some questionable gameplay. You know what I mean?
If you're enjoying what's happening, correct. Yeah. If it's pushing you.
And I think that's really what's missing from from a lot of these open worlds. I did have a theory here that I wanted to bring up, and I didn't mention before because I wanted to surprise you with this theory. And I
Oh,
wanted it's not my theory.
slap me with it.
It's not my theory. I heard this somewhere, and it like click. It almost made sense, and I wanted to have your opinion. As you know, you and I both played Deathloop.
Yes.
And we both were taken aback by all the early reviews that were giving him tens left and right, basically. A lot of fucking tens. And you and I both played the game and walked away like it's a good game. It's not a 10.
No.
And so the theory that I have heard is the reason why not the reason, but one of the reasons that the game received this was because it was a much more direct, like you thought you were playing it and you thought, oh, this is going to have so many options and I'm going to be able to, so many different ways of doing it. And the realization comes kind of early on, like, no, that's not really the case. You know what I mean? It's really just one way to get through these things. Right. But because of that, it's a finite thing. You're looking at 10 to 15 hours. Yes, 10, because I've heard some folks say that they've completed in 10 hours. And boom, you got your story, you're out. You know what I mean? And so the theory that I've heard is that this is a AAA game from Arcane Studios, which is a there's a lot of fans of Arcane Studios, able to get you a game that you were in and out 15 hours, and that along with whatever they experienced in the game bumped it up higher on a rating that for others, obviously like myself and yourself, it didn't really see that. And I wanted to know your opinion or your thoughts on that particular theory, that the length of the game, the fact that it was only going to be between 10 and 15 hours because that's all they were trying to do, gave it a higher, helped the rating on it. What do you think?
Well, that's an interesting case scenario. I can see it, how people could be delighted by the fact that, hey, I actually didn't have to, this game was this game respected my time. This game didn't overstay its welcome, which is the problem with a lot of open world games. So if they're coming out, if they're going in thinking that that's a problem and they're surprised to come out of it not being a problem, then yeah, I can see how that could have actually helped, certainly improve their enthusiasm for it. I still think they were a little too over enthusiastic about when they started giving the score that this game was getting.
I think so too.
But
and I also wonder if a lot of them walked away. This is just separate to anything else, but I wonder if a lot of them walked away going, maybe there is another way of doing this, and outside,
and maybe they just jump back in. I heard. I did hear there were. There was a reviewer actually that mentioned going back in, so maybe, I don't know if it was to explore that in particular, or maybe just like the story and that, maybe he found it too short. I don't know. Maybe.
But anyway, I don't want to derail you on that. I was just curious what you did, but I did want your opinion on that particular theory, because when I heard it, I was like, yeah. And I think that subconsciously, it's possible, subconsciously, a lot of folks playing games are going, this is taking too long, and people are getting better, more accepting of just saying, well, I've put 30 hours, who cares? I don't have to finish this game. You know what I mean? Because it's just too freaking long, or just too big. And I wonder, I was like, man, I wonder if that is a thing, and that's probably what helped Deathloop, and what may steer some other games to have higher, because that, again, as you said, they respect your time. It's like, well, I have a concept, I have a particular story to tell, and I'm going to do it within this amount of time, because that's the amount of time I need to give you that information, as opposed to throwing it into an open world and then suddenly 10 hours of the game is the story, but you have 50 hours, 60 hours of gameplay. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, oh God.
I almost feel like that's the thing with open world games. It's like a way to artificially extend gameplay. If you take the missions themselves, if you crunch that, if you take away the travel time from East Not City to West Not City or whatever the hell, if you take all that shit away, that's actually a bad example because Death Stranding needed
really
to
good.
be open world for it to work. Actually, that's an example of a game that needs to be open world in order for it to work because it literally is about the travel, not so much the story. It's almost like the opposite happens here. But Death Stranding is certainly about the journey and how
that is
how
the
you take
exception
it.
to the rule, my friend.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So that was a bad example actually to bring. But if I needed to like on other games, like I'm sorry I have to bring it again, but I did not enjoy that traveling on Ghost of Tsushima. And Ghost of Tsushima is a game that has gorgeous world, gorgeous environment. Like there is nothing short of breathtaking when you're looking at that game, and even better when you're playing it on the fucking PlayStation 5 hardware. It's like absolutely nothing short of breathtaking the world. But having to travel on it was not my favorite part. Often the travel felt long. Often the travel felt like here's the thing that I want developers to think. If your game kind of requires fast travel, I'm not saying that you want to add it. No. I'm saying it requires that it has fast travel. You should think about, are we making this world too big? Are we making this game? Because what we're saying with fast travel is people are going to get tired of traversing or with our method of traversing. They're probably not going to they rather skip this part is basically what we're saying with fast travel. I'm not advocating for taking fast travel away, so you better fucking not. I'm just saying, if you got to think honestly about, well, this game definitely needs fast travel, then you should actually be asking the question of, are we sure we're not diluting, this into making it too, too big. So and that was my main problem with Tsushima, because everything else, like, I really liked. Like, obviously the graphics were gorgeous. Obviously it had an interesting story to tell, and the fighting was good. It was just the having to go to the next section on a fucking horse to do it, and whatever. I could say the same thing about a GTA. The only thing is, I don't mind cars as much as
you like cars,
and because I like cars, A, and B. Usually, in the case of GTA, it'll put some music. I can put some music. It'll have some stations. The station will have funny things to say, but it also got repetitive. I'll admit, it also got repetitive. So, and there's some other games where it has fast travel, but he doesn't really need it. Spider-Man, for example, is just so fun to do the traversal on it that you don't mind, that you don't mind going that. Arkham City was also kind of neat to traverse because you have Batman gliding. It wasn't until Arkham Knight where they felt they need to put the fucking Batmobile, because that's what we wanted.
Man. You like driving? No, just kidding.
I like driving, but they didn't do the Batmobile. They didn't do the Batmobile good. Sorry, that sucked. So that's what I'm trying to say is stop thinking of AAA game needs to be open world game. I'm already worried about Halo Infinite, because by the name itself, it sounds like, oh, I'm just gonna have an infinite amount of bullshit that I need to do, that it'll probably have me to do. And I don't like. I don't necessarily want that. Just give me a concise story. That's why I bring it back to From Software. From Software, you had pretty much like almost perfected the art with Dark Souls 3. And I'm not saying that I want Dark Souls 4. I mean, I really fucking do want Dark Souls 4, but I'm not saying that you need to make it like you could go the route of freaking the what's that game, the samurai one that they did,
the Dark Souls. Sekiro.
You could go the way of Sekiro, right? I should call it like that, the way of Sekiro. Or you could do something else. I don't know, but just automatically thinking that the next evolution of a Dark Souls game, it's to have an open world game. And I'm not saying you guys, I'm interested in seeing how you pull it off. I'm just worried. I'm legitimately worried because that shit could get boring. And I have enjoyed your games recently, way too much to be disappointed with this one. Just like I ended up being disappointed with Batman Arkham Knight, I will hate for the reviews to say that the negative thing about it is that, well, that open world, it's just a lot of like empty space,
and it does appear that way. It does appear
that's like, it looks huge and it looks exciting, but again, like having a bigger world is not necessarily always better. I mean, there's so much that you could have done in Forza Horizon rather than just make the map bigger. And now you give me a tons of shits where I'm not sure if I'm gonna complete them. I'm certainly not gonna complete them all. I can tell you right now easily. And I'm probably gonna put less hours. I just realized how many hours I put in each Forza game, because the thing told me, an app told me I put 103 hours on Forza Horizon 3. I put 40 on Forza Horizon 4. And I probably see myself putting like maybe 20 on this one before I just like hang up and be like, okay, I think I'm done until the next one. Because it gets tiresome. It gets open world is just more opportunity to divert myself and get bored, unless you nail the story. Like, you have to keep me hooked on what what's next, And what game doesn't necessarily do great storytelling? The Dark Souls games. The Dark Souls game have a lore. It has an incredible lore, but it's too fucking abstract. Now, I understand this one. J.J. Abrams. Joe R. Martin, yes. And the fact that they're talking about, this story, it's not going to be as abstract in the Dark Souls games and stuff like that. Like, I get that. But I don't know, because if I still hearing just a lot of fantastical bullshit just for fantastical bullshit sense, like, I'm one of the few that I kind of thought Lord of the Rings was just okay. Like, that's the
I enjoy Lord of the Rings, but I know what you mean.
I enjoy Lord of the Rings, but it's not really like fantastical bullshit like that is not gonna be my jam. And I don't know if, like, I'd rather hear about an urban story about a group of a struggling person on an urban environment that ended up building their own mafia empire. Like, I'll be more interested in what happens there than what happened to the Lord of the Sun, where he gave birth to the darkness and then consumed the whole world of Terra Gaia and all that fucking nonsense that is just going to be like
Terra Gaia.
randomness.
That sounds fascinating.
Sounds very RPG-ish. JRPG-ish specifically, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that there brings us to the end of an awesome episode 288 of GG's The Mouthful Podcast. As always, please go to Good Game if you haven't already. Go to goodgame.rocks, join the conversation there, and of course, please like, subscribe, and share the podcast with everyone. This is Mad Dog signing off this week, saying, "Fear is the mind killer." Yes, Dune is still a thing in my life.
You're gonna have to switch it up. No, otherwise, you're gonna. I'm gonna start quoting Star Wars, and you're not gonna be happy.
Oh, I'm not. Mr. Dream Twister, take us home.
Misa Jar Jar Binks.
Oh my God! And I am disconnecting right about now. Oh,
before it gets worse.
I cannot stand that character. All right, I will think of something else for next week because I do not need Jar Jar in my life right now.
Nobody needs it.
No, for sure. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. GG!